Shalom, shalom, shalom. Soldier Ehud, Benaniyah Sharella. Another Reverend Friday. Got a little bit of a heavy topic now this week. Praise it to the Most High. Been building and working on this class for a while. Most High has been showing me things that can affect the salvation and the outcome of our nation, man. You know, I always give everybody a couple minutes to come on in. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Soldier Ezra. Era. What's good, bro? Shalom, shalom, shalom. Moses, right? So everybody come on in, hit that like, share, subscribe, right? Now I'm trying to give everybody the opportunity, right? All right, so got a bit of a, week. Things been going crazy, right? Everybody talking about the Olympics, presidential situation, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot actually going on this week, right? Shalom, shalom, Captain Yard. Good to see you, bro, right? Just a little bit of news, what's been going on in the globe. It was a 7.1 earthquake in Japan. Them things been ramping up. They've been getting sevens out there for a while. But, they talk about it for a little bit, then it's back to nonsense, right? Lord not playing, man. He put signs and wonders in the earth, right? Got a couple things going this week, man. A couple things going this week in regards to it. They still talking about all the presidential thing. We don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? Right? I don't know if y'all seen what happened out there in Jonesboro, but they had a lot of our sisters out there flocking, and our sisters looking like vultures or something. Because I guess a Moabite had to end up expiring. When he expired, his store got evicted. I don't know if it was a Moabite or not, but usually they're the ones that own it. Shalom, so Jerubbaal, right? And had our women out there standing in the sun, the hot sun, out there just waiting for a pack of like fake hair, wigs, other things outside the store. So had the police show up, y'all can't get none of this. We're going to reach out to the next of kin. If they don't want it, then y'all can have it, right? So, now mind you, anytime you get an evicted, Shalom, Yapa, Sharia Adiva, beautiful rip, right? Anytime you get evicted and they come, like the sheriff come and say you're not home and you get evicted, they throw all your stuff outside. So if any of the smokers want to get hold to it, they got that. If Felicia want to come by and get Craig BCR, she can get that. You see what I'm saying? And Debo want to come by and get Red bike, or Red want to come back and get his bike from Debo, guess what? It's an eviction. It's outside. It's a free fall. Your shoes, your children's things, your furniture, that's all. It's for the streets, right? So based on the law in Georgia, those women could have got that stuff and left, right? But the Most High was like, nah, I'm not going to let you get it. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, he signs off on the final result. He put a spirit of pettiness and pride on Esau. Esau said, yeah, we're going to let you get it. Then they called some inmates out there. Inmates pull up. And they said, put all the stuff on the truck, right? After making them wait out there hours. Now, those women who sat out there and waited for hours for hair that's been on the floor of a parking lot in the hot sun, you didn't see no men out there, right? No men whatsoever. This is the sad sad reality of what they do to our women, right? That our women want to be so feminine, right? And you have this feminism, right? This ism, right? And really it's narcissism. The spirit of feminism, right? Modern feminism is narcissism, not how our grandparents did it, right? Not like some of our ancient relatives, not the customs and the traditions of our people as Israelites. They was never into that. They knew how to be feminine without putting that ism on it, right? Without that ism. They knew, okay, I'm gonna put on a modern dress, right? I'm gonna be beautiful without having to say, hey, look at me, I'm beautiful, right? Because once you start looking for that additional attention, you tiptoeing into that feminism, narcissism, right? That's what we're going into, right? So long story short, what the police did was they called for a police escort. Now, this is on people's tax dollars. 20 police cars to follow behind these trucks as they took all this hair and beauty supply stuff out to the dump and dumped it after telling them they could get it and had them just sat there for hours. You see what I'm saying? What if that was the day of preparation? You as an Israelite woman and you made that mistake because you figure, hey, let me get some hair, for the Sabbath day or this, that, and the other. Now it's about to be sunset and you ain't got time to go prepare for your family, right? It's that narcissism, being self-absorbed, right? That is, grandiose, no grandiose feelings. And don't worry, we got some talking points because we want to make sure we hit these points and identify them with the spirits so that way our sisters can ensure themselves, right, that they're not walking in feministic, I don't know if that's a word, but it's going to be a word today, feministic narcissism, right? Because that word gets thrown around a lot. A lot of these modern, I won't even so much say modern, a lot of these younger women or women that's coming up there on the social media, everything is, oh, you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist. And then when the person holding the microphone and the camera asks them, well, man, what is a narcissist, right? They don't know, right? Then you turn into another big word. And they say, well, man, what does that mean? They don't know. I'm not going to argue with you, right? Why are you voting for this individual? Oh, there's a lot of reasons I'm voting for her, right? And then when the guy asks her, hey, name some of her policies that you enjoyed when she was, vice president or before she was president. Oh, there's too many to name. He said, just name one. Oh, I'm not going to argue with you. Guy wasn't even arguing, right? These are the traits of narcissism, right? A lot of these women want to be what you would call a ultra feminine type scenario. I want the man to pay. And when I mean pay, it's not like going out on a date pay. They want the man to pay in a way of where he's suffering, right? And the Most High already knew this type of stuff was going to happen. This is why he has commandments and laws in place to help our people avoid this, right? We're not supposed to learn the way of the heathen. There were certain laws we're not supposed to break for certain reasons because it creates a chain reaction, right? So this week's class, the spirit of feminism is narcissism, right? And we're going to go into it and we're going to look at this spirit that's been plaguing our women, right? Been plaguing our women. Because a lot of brothers, we say, hey, look, there's no single family households. We're not going to make any type of 304s out of our women as we are commanded by our laws because it doesn't benefit the actual generations going forward. When you're elderly and it's time to, am I going to take care of mama? Am I going to take care of daddy? And you haven't poured enough wisdom, knowledge, discernment, understanding of the scriptures into your children, you can end up in a senior citizen prison, which is called a home. And guess what? Those women in there and those men in there, they don't care nothing about you or your family. It's not like where people care about, is Miss Johnson okay? Right? She could be my grandmother told me she was on the floor for like almost an hour because my aunt chose to put her into a nursing facility, right? Oh, you guys can't take care of her. We're gonna put her in a nursing home. That's better for her. All right. She told me I was on the floor for an hour calling for help. Ain't nobody help. When I confront the woman that was a nurse, of course, it turned into, now, you know that she's borderline dementia. Hey, look, we're not doing borderline stuff. Did the doctor say that? No. She hasn't been given any kind of Alzheimer's or dementia type what's the word I'm looking for? Not judgment, but pretty much been hit with that title. This is what you have, right? They like to play with us. You're borderline diabetic. Either you got it or you don't. Either you got it or you don't. Sugar in your blood, diabetes. Sugar in the brain, right? That's supposed to be either ADHD, autism, or dementia, right? So you get sugar in your teeth, cavities. You see what I'm saying? So that sugar is what's creating a lot of these scenarios. And we look at the symptoms, right? And these diagnoses. Yeah, there we go. That's the word I was looking for. When we look at these things, to me, you are putting a false judgment on the individual, right? And I'm not going to go too much into it because I know that there's certain things that you can do or say that can create an issue based on confusion because they allow AI to pretty much make the final judgment on anything, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get class started, right? We're going to go ahead and identify, right? We're going to point them out because these things need to be pointed out for our nation to flourish, right? Our people have a lot of, I wouldn't say baggage, but a lot of destruction of generational traits that have been done to us by these heathens, right? And what we need to do is point out the things that our people are experiencing so that way the next generation can kind of be curved away from that. Those who can be saved and say, you know what, I am acting like that. I need to stop that. These things can be avoided, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with Exhibit A, Eve, right? She was the originator of being a feminist. She was the OG feminist. Now, I know some people may say, oh, you can't say that about Eve. Yes, we can, because we have the proof, right? We have the proof of what she did in regards to it, right? Her first individual thing that she did, right? And we have to be sure that our daughters, our sisters, our mothers, our wives are not doing this, right? And we need to have a serious conversation in regards to it because we can't play on the line or we can't play with the Most High. We know everything he does is absolute to the T. There is no gray area with the Lord. It's either you did it or you didn't do it, not a maybe. There's no maybes. I can't recall off the top of my head any maybe scriptures or you maybe sin or either you did or you didn't, right? So we're going to start out with Eve. We're going to Genesis 3, right? And we'll start at 1, right? And this is where she attempted to teach a male. Now, most people read this story, don't even think about this, right? But this was the beginning showing the actual narcissism up front. She attempted to teach a male because she had an inflated, this is the narcissistic trait, inflated sense of self, right? Trying to influence others excessively. Now, here we go. The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, right? Not a she. Serpent wasn't a she. We're talking about Eve in regards to this, Sister Aqua Brianna, right? We're talking about Eve, right? We're talking about her inflated sense of self, right? Which is a narcissistic trait, right? She was trying to influence the serpent excessively, right? So it says, and he said unto the woman, yea, Have God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Right? Now, he spoke to her. She's out alone. It's a very dangerous situation for our women in this world, going out alone, right? Going out alone. They could go to a store. They could be an Israelite. She got on a modest dress. She got on her fringes. She doesn't have a Lord, right? And she's out, and a guy, he may not have on fringes, but he, shalom, shalom, sis, right? To teach a male, we gonna definitely gonna go into it, right? We gonna go into it, right? He said unto the woman, and now you're gonna probably say, well, how did he try to teach a male, right? Verse 2, right? Because what I was saying is a lot of our women go out here and let's say they're not part of a congregation, right? They don't have any leadership. They're watching online, right? They don't get to have an interaction with sisters, brothers, leadership to actually see how a congregation or our people operated during the times of having the tabernacle, right? Being part of a camp or congregation. A lot of people don't want that. The reason why they do not want, camps are evil, this, that, and the other, because they have secret sins, because they're walking around with the spirit of narcissism on them, right? A lot of the men get these spirits off of the women. A lot of these women get these spirits off of the men because we know spirits jump, right? So when we go into verse 2, we see how she's trying to teach the serpent. We're going to get that, right? It says, and the woman said unto the serpent, the woman could have walked away. I don't have my Lord with me, right? But no, what did she do? She said, the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden, right? She just told him, we may eat, right? And then we'll go into verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree, which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. At that moment, she was trying to teach the serpent that she could eat. Y'all take a moment, let that absorb on in, right? Because when I first heard this, I said, dang, I didn't even think about it like that, right? She was out by herself, right? And when you think about a lot of the customs in the world, right, most customs don't allow a woman to travel to the market without, let's say, her little brother or her older brother or her uncle or her father because of safety issues. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. And our women need our protection as men, right? But where the modernism, that modern comes on in, now these women, they're independent, right? Beyonce told you she's an independent woman, right? You must not know about me and all of this other stuff, right? Got our women putting the man that's helped paying their bills out the house, put all his stuff outside because they didn't like something he did, right? There's no conversation to try and work things out because if the man said, well, look, I'm the man of the house. He may grow up around his father, right? And he's like, hey, I'm putting my foot down. We're not going to have that boy doing X, Y, Z because it's going to lead to X, Y, Z in regards to it. She's like, you can't tell me about my child because that spirit jumps on a lot of our women. Our ancestors weren't acting like that. This can destroy our nation if our women continue to operate in this manner because when Jacob troubles come, the easiest target, right, is going to be a single woman with children. That's going to be one of the easiest soft targets for these heathens to attack because they know there's no man that's going to have the might or the strength or that's willing to fight for the death to protect that household. So we don't get these things nipped now and get this stuff off of our beautiful sisters now, right? Or get them away or make them aware of it so they can at least have these conversations with their sisters because a lot of women won't listen to a man talk. Because you're being narcissist, right? Or you're being the other word that means that you hate women. That all of these words don't exist, but they came through the feminist movements that they've pushed, right? They were pushing a female Bible, right? And our people say, well, female Bible, what is that? They remix a lot of the words in the Bible. Let's see. I have it written down on one of these. Yeah, they had a female Bible, and it's called the Woman's Bible of 1895 by Elizabeth Cady Stanton. She was in there remixing the word of the Most High to try and fit the narrative of women pretty much being superior or equal to men when the Most High didn't make that as such, right? Because when that Jacob trouble hit, it's going to be hell for households with men and women and children, right? But it's going to be even tougher when you have a woman in the house by herself with small children and no man, right? Somebody come busting through the window, they'll say, well, she can get a gun, she can do this and do that. That sounds good. That sounds good until that trouble comes, man. Until that every animal, right? Every species, the male usually protects the women, right? You got praying mantis scenarios and stuff like that. It's like a 1 out of a million. But when it comes to a lion's pride, male lion's gonna put his life on the line for his pride. When it comes to bears, tigers, like masculine or apex predators, it's always the male that's willing to help, right? Now you get some that have a partnership. The female wolf will actually get in and trying to distract. Let's say if her husband is under attack, she will try to distract by putting her head under the male's head. So that way, if that other male wolf attempts to strike for the neck, which goes for the jugular and kill that wolf, she's there as a distraction, and basically they'll be able to overcome that situation in most cases, right? But those are like 1-outs in regards to that. We don't take our women to camp because our women are beautiful, right? Our women are gentle. We don't need to have them in the middle of a war zone when you got drunk women out there, because guess what? They're upset. They're trying to talk to the women. The women ain't answering. She got a drink in her hand. She may try to splash women on them. Splash that liquid, whatever that is, on them. And then now that's going to turn into an altercation, because I don't know any woman that's going to allow her to get splashed with an actual drink and don't try to defend herself. So this is the reason why we must use wisdom, because that's one of the things they try to bring up, right? We got women that, like, when we talk to, like, hey, sister, you got a moment for the word of the Lord. And we try to give them that. They don't want to hear it. Sometimes the men may stay, or the man may want to stay, the woman pulling them off. We gotta change that narrative, right? If we love our people, right, we gotta pray that the Most High removes that spirit of that narcissism, that feminine narcissism from our women. They're being taught and inducted and put through training courses every day on social media, right? Every day on social media. Eve right here was trying to teach the serpent by telling him, right? And what did the serpent do? He finessed it, got you, right? He said, and the serpent said unto the woman, right? Because this is where we go into the next step. But before we do that, we're gonna stick right here on verse 3, and we're gonna get 1 Timothy, right? Because guess what? The Most High told us not to do this. And he gave us this for a reason. Because it's easy for a woman to go out and attempt to teach, and then the guy may be a little bit more wittier than a woman, come at her with something she wasn't thinking about. Now she may question her whole doctrine and walk away from her belief system because he puts her in a checkmate status, especially if there's a camera involved, right? So she tried to teach a male, the serpent. It said he said to Eve, right? So we identified his characteristics was a male, right? She attempted to teach him by telling what the Most High told her to the serpent. She was trying to teach him what that actual law was, okay? 1 Timothy 2:12, and it reads, right? But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor usurp authority over a man, but to be in silence, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up, because we want to get a little bit more on this. We want to look at the whole thing in regards to the guidelines that were set aside for women to keep them in order with the Lord. Not, oh, you're trying to be controlling and this, that. All of these things that modern feminism teaches is damaging and destroying the actual family construct. That's exactly what it's doing, right? Let's go up to verse 9. Let's really get why these guidelines were given, because there's a certain, all our women want to be a Proverbs 31 woman, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're not following the guidelines of what is required for a woman wholeheartedly being obedient to the Lord, if you're being obedient to the Most High God of Israel and doing what he says do in full subjugation, full submission, then you're obedient to your husband, because you're not breaking the laws, because you'll know exactly what the Lord requires of you, and you will submit yourself and humble yourself to actually do that. Now, we're going to read this, because a lot of times women will say, well, you're telling us to, let's read what the Lord says, because my thoughts and words don't really mean anything outside of the guidelines the Lord left us, right? 1 Timothy 2, we're going to jump up to 9. In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety. That means you're not out here drunk in every guy's face talking about, you want to buy me a drink? You want to buy me a drink? You sound like you're in a strip club, right? Do you want to tip me for my dance? Right? When I was in the world, I got aggravated with going to strip clubs really quickly. You walk into a place, hey, how you doing? Not even, hey, how you doing? You want to tip me for my dance? What dance? Well, I just got off stage like 10 minutes ago. I just walked in here. I didn't see you dance, so what am I giving you a tip for? You see what I'm saying? That's like a waitress. As soon as you come into a restaurant, right, and they say, okay, she's going to sit you. But like, hey, do you want to tip me for my last order? You want to pay it forward? What do you mean? You didn't even serve us yet. But yeah, do you want to tip us for the last order? That's the mentality we got to kind of take away from our women. We got to raise our women, our daughters, right? Our sisters. We got to raise them in a way of being shamefaced at it. You're not trying to catch eye contact with every dude, because you may get the eye contact of a woman violator that's willing to do any and everything to get what you hold most dear to you, right? Which is your temple, women, right? In sobriety, you don't want to get out here, right, and allow that spirit to get on you. Let's say you're out somewhere, and now, you see a guy, you like him, y'all been talking, he keeps offering you drinks, you keep drinking, he drinking, right? You know that you're a little tipsy. You know that you came with family members or friends that don't drink, versus you saying, hey, you know what? I'll take your number, and I'll go ahead and contact you sometime this week. I'm not feeling too good, right? He just said, oh man, have one more drink. No. We gotta be able to say no. We gotta tell, like they said with Diddy, you gotta be able to tell Diddy no, because that's a spirit that's on them. They're waiting to see if I get you to get one more drink, because the most I say you can drink, but not to get drunk. Once you start to feel that you're past your spiritual limit, or you're passing your spiritual limit, why don't you do the balance test? Stand up if you're sitting down. If you feel like, whoa, hey, call over your designated person, right? Hey, not feeling too good. You need to walk me to the car. This done caught up with me. Go get you 2 bottles of water. Try and drink that down a little bit, right? Try and equal things out. But what you want to do is remove yourself from the situation, right? Because it says you need to be shamefaced in sobriety. Was Eve being shamefaced with the serpent? No. She wasn't being shamefaced versus just ignoring the serpent and going about her business. No, she stopped and tried to basically utilize that spirit, which was trying to teach a male, right? She was utilizing an inflated sense of self. This is a narcissistic trait. And that was, I'm going to teach this person, I'm going to tell them and get them, I'm going to get them together, I'm going to read them, or I'm going to show them the way. A lot of times our sisters fall for this on social media, right? They'll get on there, they'll make a post about scriptures, right? Trying to share a meme or something because they're trying to wake their people up. A dude gets on the comment board and says, well, based on this, that, and the third, it's this, and that. Versus ignoring that comment, right? They go right back and at him. Well, no, the scriptures say X, Y, gotcha. You're trying to teach a male at that point. That's how quick Satan uses these social media snares to get our people out of order. They don't even realize it. They don't even realize it. This is where our women are getting dragged down into the situations there is where the Most High just say, hey, I'm gonna just let the spirits get all over them, because they're not beseeching themselves. They're not really looking at the tricks that Satan's laying for them, right? And Satan going right back to the throne. I bet you I can trick her with her social media posts she about to post. Here, let me put a man on here. I bet you she try and teach him versus ignore it, because she's not going to be able to help it, right? They're not going to be able to help it, because a lot of times women don't understand the spirit of narcissism. A lot of our sisters, y'all use these big words that y'all hear on social media, these women that call themselves feminines or modern feminists or whatever they want to use, right? Versus just a woman, right? They want to go into this inflated sense of self. They're trying to influence others excessively. Girl, here's a list of places you can't take me. You can't go to Cheesecake Factory. We can't go to Foot Locker for shoes. We can't go to here for this. We can't go to there for that. If you're going to take me to a beauty salon store, it has to be one that has 2 doors instead of 1 door. They have to have the air conditioner on 67 degrees. All types of standards, right? But as they give out standards, they lower their standards for something else, right? But let's keep going. It says, not with braided hair or gold or pearls that cost you away. Let's understand what this means, right? If you're constantly, the only thing you're concerned about is getting your hair done, right? Or all the elegant things that you can have, like golds or pearls or costly array. Because there is a woman in the Bible that was upset that she had to give up her jewelry, right? It was either her life or her jewelry, but she had to give it up. And I hate the fact that I didn't write her name down, because I had a list full. Shalom, Calvin C, right? Costly array. Because a lot of times, those spirits that come with those things, costly array, look at how the celebrities act. They got on their pearls and their jewelry and stuff. You can't say nothing to them, right? Sister, you shouldn't be walking around like that. Who are you to talk to me? I'm living my best life, this, that. Oh, okay, right? Until it's time to go to that black couch. Because guess what? Them celebrities all got to answer to that black couch, right? It says, but with becoming women professing godliness with good works. What's the good works, right? Being shamefaced, being sober enough to see that your sister that you brought with her had too much to drink, and you need to go over there and help her not become another statistic, to make sure that she's not becoming a victim to someone who is just, hey, I'm there, I got on a beard, I got on some fringes, I'm knowing the truth, right? I'm knowing the truth, so I haven't learned anything, right? This is what that brother's mind state could be in. Now he's like, well, she looking good right now. That spirit's like, yeah, look at her body, right? Causing her to lust, right? And that's exactly why the scriptures tell us, lead us not into temptation. A lot of people don't pray enough. When your feet hit the ground, you're supposed to pray, right? What does Sirach 2:1 say? You come to serve the Lord, prepare thyself for temptation, right? These are the temptations of this world. And it starts with that portal, which is social media. That is the portal. And a lot of our people don't look at it as that. Oh, I'm bored. Okay, I'm telling you, right? How is that going to affect your good works? Because you're not going to be thinking to do the good works. You're going to be thinking of self. This is where that narcissism comes in, right? It says, let a woman learn in silence with all subjugation, right? When they hear that, they're like, oh, you want us to shut up? No, because verse 12 tells you why they need to learn in silence with all subjugation. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to assert authority over the man, but to be in silence. The reason why is he's explaining based on what happened in Genesis 3:1-3. Eve didn't learn in silence, right? She went out and tried to teach a male. She used that inflated sense of self. That's why when you get down, it says, for Adam was first formed, right? Then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression, right? That was the transgression she was in by doing that. So let's go back. We're going back to Genesis, right? And we're going to get Exhibit B in regards to Eve. Eve wanted to be equal with God rather than accepting the role she was given. Now, y'all probably say, well, how is that, right? Let's see how. Genesis, the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 5. It says, for God doth know, right, or do know, that the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall become as gods, knowing good and evil, right? So once he finessed her with that, right? Once he finessed her with that, she operated in a grandiose sense of self because she was not satisfied, right, with her role that the Most High gave her. She wasn't satisfied with that. And she showed that by her actions, right? She showed that by her actions, right? The grandiose sense of self, considering yourself more talented or intelligent than others by trying to one-up the achievements of others, right? So she knew if she ate that fruit based on what she was told by the serpent, she would be as a god, right? That could give her, because if they say Adam refused the fruit, she would have understood good and evil, right? So she would have felt that she had more intelligence than him, like unfortunately, a lot of our women do now. You see them on the news reports, right? Oh, we're making more money than men. We're doing this. We're smarter than men. We have higher education, things of that nature. We can put off having children right now. We can put off doing this. We can put off doing that so we can have the career and the life that we wanted. This is the type of stuff that is the modern spirit, right? It's the spirit of modern feminism, which is narcissism, right? The grandiose sense of self. Because then when they realize, hey, like Vivica Fox or a lot of these other women, hey, I'm like 50, I'm 60. I don't have a husband yet. Oh man, I done, now nobody wants me. Because it doesn't work like how you will get they'll say, oh, she can be a sugar mama. That's not gonna last long because these young men, they're gonna get that money and go. They're gonna ask for a certain amount. If that man is conniving enough to go for that, he's gonna ask for a certain amount of money that he's good with. Whether it be 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. I want to start at this, that, and the third. But he got a girl that he's already with, right? It's just a reverse finesse. Like a lot of these women do some of these simp men that go out here and be tender D's, right? We're not in, like let's say we're supposed to be equal rights for men and women, right? The only equal right you have is to keep these commandments when you think about it. That's the equal right you have. Either you can not keep them or you can keep them. But if you're an Israelite man or woman, y'all have the equal right to keep the laws of the Most High. You have that equal right. Keep them laws, keep the commandments and live. That's the equal right that you have. The feminist movement was like, no, this is going to be a tool to separate the Israelite family. All right. Let's see if we're going to also put Adorn. See, that's the thing. Because what they do is they steal so much. They created that. So they said, you know what? We see these Negro women out here displaying a strong sense of, I wouldn't say pride, but a strong sense of understanding their role and their abilities and their actual attributes that make them valuable to their nation and people. And when that feminist movement started cranking up, hey, you guys can come over here with us. We can't guarantee you that our Edomite husbands and all these other nations are going to respect you, but we'll let you stand next to us. How about that? And then you can stop all. That was the trick bag, right? That was the trick bag. And our women that was working, being diligent at home, actually partakers of keeping the house started to slowly but surely get taken out into the water where they were going to be left to drown, right? They were going to be left to drown. And you got to think about it. If the Most High's made a man, right, in the role of a man, provider, protector, priest, prophet, right? We are to ensure that the laws of the Most High being kept in our households as a male, right? That's a very big job being a leader. It's a hard job being a leader, right? We are satisfied with our role. Now you probably say, because you get to control everything. No, it's not that. We're satisfied with our role because as men, that's something that's in us. That's just something that we understand, right? Hey, baby, I can't hold a baby. I got to go to work. It's crying. You have, as a female, the nurturing spirit. Okay, you holding the baby, talking to him. The baby calms down. He's asleep. Because you have to think that baby was inside of you for 9 months. It's familiar with your heartbeat. It's familiar with your touch. It's familiar with you, your scent, everything about you, because it just was inside of you for 9 months. There's a connection, right? It's connection. But a lot of women don't understand that, oh, the man's never around, he's never this and that. Well, we have to really look at men and women. We have to look at what we choose. If we know we're going to choose a woman that's not going to uphold her end of the bargain when it comes to serving the Lord and doing thus say the Lord and humbly submitting herself to the Lord, then there's going to be a problem, right? Shalom, Sister Janetta, right? Khan, Hackman, there is a chain of command. You have Yahweh, right? The Most High, the Ancient of Days, right? None higher than him. You have his son, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, the Anointed, right? The King of Kings, right? Lord of Lords, right? He's not higher than his father because father is the Most High. There's no title higher than that, right? Then you have man. He created man, right? He said, look, I created you. I put you in the garden. I told you to get my garden together for me. I told you to name my animals for me, right? Shalom, Trey, right? I told you to get my family, or get what I've created in order for you. Name all these animals, right? He was out there by himself for a reason. The Most High said he didn't need no distraction. Then he seen, hey, he's kind of lonely. I'm going to make him a help me. They help him out with some of the stuff that, he's doing a lot of work. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give him a help me. And when he did that, we see what actually happened because he created woman as a helper for man. Now I want y'all to think about that. When you're ladies, when you're in the kitchen cooking, you got children, right? And your children want to help. Do they control everything? No. Can they give input? They can ask questions. Hey, mommy, can we put chocolate chips on the cake? No, we don't need chocolate chips on the cake. It's a chocolate cake, right? Same way with the man and a woman, right? When, hey, mommy, can I go outside and play? Did you finish your homework? No, you can't go outside and play, right? We can't go above Christ as men. We can't go above the Most High as men. Our women have to understand you can't just go above and be equal. Christ can't be equal with the Most High, right? Men can't be equal with Christ, right? Women, y'all cannot be equal with men. The only understanding of equality or equalness is keeping the law equally. I, as a man, am going to keep all the laws that pertain to me, right? You got to keep all the laws that pertain to you. We have to humble ourselves together, right? And submit ourselves together to the Lord, right? And if we're not doing that, this is where a lot of those problems are starting. Because, me and the brother was talking, you say, hey, our people got to get married. A lot of times marriage don't fix stuff. It don't. A lot of times it don't. It is the remedy to single family homes. It's the remedy to STDs being passed around. It's the remedy to a lot of things that plague our people, but it's not the full ending of that. Because once you get married, that's a whole nother voyage you have to go on together. That's a whole nother voyage. So getting married to a person or laying with a person, they are proving one another, and now that gentleman or that lady has now showed the person their true colors. And it's not what they thought it was going to be, because the scriptures tell us, prove a friend. If we're not proving a friend, what are we going to get? We're going to run into these situations, man. So we're going to keep going on. We're going to keep going down. We're going to see more things that Eve did that created these issues going forward, right? So she tried to teach her male, right? Then she went from that to trying to be equal with God, right? This is that feminine spirit, right? All praises, sis. All praises, right? Like, share, subscribe as y'all come in. Share this with y'all sisters and brothers. These messages that are the word of the Most High need to be heard in the four corners of the earth. We need to get these wicked, deceptive spirits and demons off of our people so we can prepare, because like I said, Jacob trouble is coming. Yahweh Shah is coming back with a sword. Judgment Day is not going to be as eloquent as they paint in the movies. It's going to be very, very, very hard, right? So if they try to snatch the word of the Lord from us, and we do not have these understandings or evaluations in our temple, we are going to be sitting ducks, right? We're going to be sitting ducks. Now we're going to go down to verse 6, right? Because first she wanted to be equal with God, right? She didn't want to accept the role she was given. She wasn't satisfied with her role. Adam was satisfied. He was satisfied. Okay, you want me to name a million different animal species? No problem. Got to get in the water. Okay, this is a hermit crab. That's a dolphin. That's going to be a whale. I'm going to call this a shark. That's a tiger, orangutan, monkey, fruit fly. That's a bat. This is going to be a goldfish. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. He was satisfied with that. I'm good. I'm naming all your animals, Lord. No problem. Right? Naming all your animals. These are going to be clean animals. These are the animals that most likely you're not going to want us to eat. Adam had the laws already, right? Adam had the laws from the beginning, right? Had that breath of life in him. So now we're going to jump down to verse 6, right? And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes, right? And a tree to be desired to make one wise. What did she do? She became wise in her own eyes. That's what she did when she did this. She became wise in her own eyes, and the scriptures warn us about this, right? It says, a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat, right? Okay. So you probably say, how does she become wise? Let's go. Let's hold that, right? Let's hold that. Because we're going to come back and we're going to go over to Proverbs 3 and 7. Proverbs 3 and 7. Because she was being wise in her own, because she saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes, right? And a tree to be desired to make one wise. So she knew that she had that. She had that one up on Adam at that point. Grandiose sense of self. Inflated sense of self. These are narcissistic traits, right? Playing innocent, right? Playing shy, right? These are narcissistic traits, right? And these spirits attack our women as well as our children and can even jump onto our men, right? These are things that we need to evaluate early, right? Proverbs 3 and 7. Be not wise in thy own eyes, right? Fear the Lord and depart from evil. Did she depart from when that serpent attempted to teach her? No. She engaged it. She wasn't being shamefaced, right? She didn't. She tried to teach a male. Then she went from trying to teach a male to trying to be equal with God and Adam, right? Rather than accepting the role she was given by the Most High, she wasn't satisfied with that, right? But guess what? When we jump up to verse 5, it says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not into thy own understanding. because that's what she did. She didn't depart from the evil, right? She trusted in her own, she tried to be wise and trusted in her own thoughts. And by doing so, this created a snowball effect, because what we're going to do now is we're going to go, because she didn't depart from evil, right? She didn't depart. You don't think somebody tried to get Adam and couldn't get him? So they waited, right? This is how these spirits do. They'll wait. They'll wait to jump, right? Sirach 25:4. We're going to Sirach 25:4, right? And it says, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die, right? Through her we all die. Now, probably say, well, are you attacking? No. We're trying to point out what happened. We got to backtrack, because we got to figure out how we can attempt to fix ourselves to be worthy enough of the kingdom, if it be the will of the Lord, right? We got to, because if you're not doing that, you're letting your children down. You're letting down your daughter. You're letting down your son, right? You're letting down your nation, right? And this is what you want to avoid that. You want to avoid letting down your nation, right? Let's go to 2 Corinthians 11:3. Let's get a precept for that. Because it's real easy to do that, right? And it reads, the book of 2 Corinthians 11:3. It says, but I fear least by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, right? So your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ, right? For if he that cometh preaches another Yahushua, whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit, narcissism, feminism, right, which ye have not received, or another gospel, which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him, right? Because we got to look at how these things go, because when that doctrine was given to Eve, she gave it to Adam, right? And then at that point, this is where that evil came in, right? Now you probably say, well, it became the beginning of sin, because when she gave it to him, that was the first right there. She broke the first commandment. Most High gave her a commandment not to break it. Don't do this, don't do that. She did a couple of things that led her into that. This is how sin, when you get into a sinful mentality, when that spirit takes you out into the water, right? Just like Solomon, right? When that spirit takes our women out, and this is why we have to protect our women. This is why we always need to be staying in the spirit as men, right? We need to be teaching our sisters. We need to be teaching our wives. We need to be teaching our daughters, right? We need to make sure that we're setting a good example as a righteous man, right? To ensure, because is it always going to go that way? No, it's not. Are we going to lose brothers and sisters to sin or spirits that are strongholds upon them? Yeah, right? Are we going to be tested with having to deal with that spirit, rebuke that spirit, and sometimes having to live or dwell with those spirits? Yes, we are, right? But this is where you have to basically be looking to see, okay, Most High did this. What you going to do? Are you going to get out of line because the other person got out of line, or are you going to stay on that path? Brothers, sisters, we got to stay on that path for the Lord, man. We have to make the Lord pleased in our actions. If we're not doing that, what are we doing, right? Because now we have to look how she became wise in her own eyes. What traits did she do when she became wise in her own eyes? She had a lack of empathy, right? Because we always got to match this up with the narcissism or the feminism traits, because that's what the class is on, right? We got to point it out so we can see this and ensure we're not operating in these same spirits, right? Lack of empathy, right? One, inconsiderate of the feelings, emotions, or opinions of others. She had a lack of empathy that the Lord told her, don't eat that tree. She had a lack of empathy for Adam because she did eat and she gave it to him. So she knew good and bad because she ate it first, right? Or she consumed the doctrine first. Because again, we don't want to think of she gave him an apple. No, let's stay away from that. It was doctrine. Outside of that, you can do what thou wilt. Doctrine, right? Not believing and trusting in God, that doctrine right there, because this has played a lot of our foremothers, right? And forefathers, right? Con. We have to have discernment. We have to pray. When you pray at night or you pray in the day, Lord, please increase my wisdom, knowledge, discernment, understanding for my wife, for my children. Increase this household's obedience and humility and humbleness to you, Lord, to serve you as you want us to serve you, not as we serve, not to serve our own belly. We got to pray things. We got to pray mighty prayers to the Lord. We can't just give him these little prayers. Oh, Lord, don't let me get into no arguments today, Lord. Lord, let me just have a good day, Lord. Thank you. And then you're done. Really? You didn't take that time with him. But now when there's an ailment, now when there's a problem, now when you're under attack, now you go in here and you trying to pray like the prayer of Manasseh, right? You're trying to go into such a detailed prayer at that point because now you need all that help. Don't wait until the day of affliction to call out to the Lord. Seek him early. Seek him early. If you see that your wife has traits, have a conversation with her. But first, before you go into that conversation with her, you go into your closet, you have that conversation with the Lord. You ask him, hey, Lord, put your thoughts in my mind. Put your words on my tongue. Help me to show my wife. Help me to get this spirit off of my wife or my children or myself. You have to go in there and you have to ask for that. You need to ask for that because if you go into a war without a helmet, you can get your head chopped off. If you go in there without a shield, you may get maimed, right? You got to put on a spiritual set of armor with the armor of the Most High, which is all in the same. You have to know how to pray and go read that and memorize Matthew 6. Every Israelite should have Matthew 6 memorized. 23rd Psalms memorized. Some of those 20 Psalms memorized. These precepts, to the best of your ability, memorize. Get you some flashcards. When y'all bored, y'all want to have a little fun between each other, want to have a sport between each other, right? Versus, hey, let's go watch a movie together. No. You know what? We'll go watch a movie together, but if I can, if we can go, look, get some of these cards. I'm gonna get some of these cards, right? We'll shuffle them up. We're gonna look at them together, right? If I get this many right, or if I beat you, we're gonna go to 5. If I can get 5 right in a row versus you, then I pick the movie, right? And I pick the snacks or whatever, right? And if she get it, you want to have that friendly competitiveness to learn to increase, right? Baby, I bet you don't know the whole 23rd Psalms. I bet you I do. All right, well, I'm gonna get your favorite ice cream if you know it, right? Little simple things between a husband and wife. You have to do it like that all the time? No. Because guess what? When the children see you doing that, now they, daddy, I know the Psalms too. I know this and that too. Okay, good. Right? Okay, good. Because not everything comes with a reward, right? We can't do things looking for a reward like Esau did with David. Oh, I killed Saul. I took him out. I know how y'all feel about him. Here go his bracelet. Here go his this, his that. Whoop-de-whoop, because he thought he was going to get a reward. He did. He got a reward. He got it quick. Well, no, probably wasn't quick. He got his death given to him in front of the eyes of the king. You got to die in front of the king. That was your reward, right? We got to be very, very, very careful that we're not operating in the lack of empathy, right? You can't be inconsiderate of the feelings or the emotions or the opinions of others, right? Because look at it like this. If my wife was to go smoke some cigarettes right now, she in the truth, but I'm finna go have me a smoke or something. I'm going back in the world, I'm gonna go have me a smoke. He ain't gotta know, right? That shows a lack of empathy, right? A guy deciding I'm gonna go out here, right? And he may go out and lay with another man, right? That's a lack of empathy. Or let's not even go that far. He may lay with another woman, get an STD, come back home, know he got the STD, right? And then lay with his wife and give her the STD. Lack of empathy, right? Inconsiderate of the feelings, emotions, and opinions of others. A woman out here not being shamefaced. Lack of empathy, right? God, you don't want this blood on your hand. You don't, right? What else did Eve show when she became wise in her own eyes outside of a lack of empathy, right? Entitlement, another narcissistic trait. One believing they are above the rules and laws that apply to everyone else. He told y'all don't eat of the tree, right? You went out there, she said, hey, I'm going to be wise in my own eyes. I'm going to lean on my own understandings. She believed that she was above the rules the Most High had set. She was above the laws, right? Because when you jump back up to 3 and 5 of Genesis, she wanted to be equal with God and above Adam. She didn't want to accept the role that she was given. It wasn't satisfying enough for her, right? Being a helpmeet is one of the best things. It's like being a spotter for a sniper. Without that spotter to help the sniper, right, he could miss his shot, right? Without that woman saying, baby, I don't think that's a good idea, because the Lord does use our women to warn us sometimes. He'll use your child to warn you, right? Daddy, you're fussing, your eyes are turning colors, or you know what I'm saying, you're fussing a lot, you're breathing hard, Daddy, are you okay, right? They could come in there and warn you that you're about to fall out from yelling. So I don't like yelling in my house. I don't like people to know my business that live around me. You see what I'm saying? You can still talk with a masculine and stern voice. Do I raise my voice sometimes out of frustration? Yes. Do I do it all the time to where I'm raising my voice so my neighbor can hear it? You have to know how to be under self-control, man. That's one of the main things that allow us to be a man, being under self-control, right? A lot of times you can cut it short, but you don't want to cut it too short, right? You don't want to cut it too short. You do want to cut it short sometimes, right? All arguing back and forth, you don't want to do all of that. Versus doing the argument, hey, I said what I said. Well, you ain't got to respond to that. Walk away, go into your closet, talk to the Most High, because he's the one that's refereeing it from his throne. You go in there and you disallow what she just said if she was out of the spirit. Men, husbands, fathers, you go in there, you disallow that. You don't let that pass by and not say anything to the Lord. You go to the prayer. You go to the prayer. That's the first move. You go to the prayer. You ask the Lord, forgive me for any iniquity that I may have committed, right? But I need this spirit that's of XYZ. You identify that spirit, remove from my wife. I disallow the things that she said that was disobedient and that you may look down in displeasure of, Lord. Please do not bring judgment or any type of calamity upon her or our household. I disallow that. Forgive her. And you forgive her in your heart. And you ask for that spirit to be removed. If you got some incense, some frankincense incense, go light one up. Go get in your Bible. Read on the wisdom, right? Go into your Psalms, right? Read upon what Christ did in certain situations. Get your mind, set your heart aright, as the scripture tells us to do. You do that. Y'all take some time away from each other. Most time, remove that spirit. You may come in the room. Baby, want to give you a hug. Hey, no problem. I'm reading the Bible. Go get your Bible for a second. I want to show you something. And y'all read for a while, right? You give her a hug. You give her a kiss. You tell her, hey, I love you. I forgive you for what you did. I asked the Lord to forgive you. I didn't want him to bring punishment to you. And even if she don't say, well, I forgive you or I'm sorry, and things of that nature, right? The first person she needs to apologize to is the Most High, not you. She doesn't have to, it's chain of command. The Most High, Christ, then you. She needs to apologize to the Lord first because that's who she embarrassed herself in front of first, right? We got to stop looking, and like I said, this is how you go into that narcissism. You can't operate, men, you can't operate in a grandiose sense of self, considering yourself more talented or intelligent than the other one's trying to one-up them. You better tell me sorry. Doesn't always work that way, right? You can't have the entitlement in regards to it. They need to go talk to the Father first. They need to basically make sure that the mediator mediates for them with the Lord, right? That's what needs to be done first. We got to get these spirits pulled all the way off. When you go in there, you don't take half a shower. You don't take half a shower, right? Or when you get out and dry yourself, you can see dirt all over the towel because you didn't clean yourself properly, right? We got to follow the steps to clean ourselves of these spirits of narcissism and feminism that operate in the same spirit. You got to. Our women can't walk around with an inflated sense of self. Neither can our men. They can't have that grandiose sense of self. Neither can I. Because if both men and women are operating in these same spirits in the house, who else gonna do it? These children. And when your child come home with a black eye or a fat lip, guess what? It's because you allowed them to take them spirits to school. Because that's what you're showing them, right? Versus evaluating yourself. You got to be able to step back and say, hey, I wouldn't do this in front of your house, Shy. Why am I talking to my husband like that? Why am I talking to my brother like that? Why am I talking to my sister like that, right? We got to operate in a better spirit. We have to. For the Most High, take your spirit from you. When you pray, Lord, give me a new heart, give me a new spirit. Hey, I feel like I fell short today, Lord. Help me not to fall short for the rest of today. Help me not to fall short for tomorrow. Lord, allow our nation to not fall short. Allow our congregation, every leader, right? Like wherever your leader structure goes, and you pray that every brother, sister, and child not to fall short. It's important that we pray constantly for our nation, man. The spirits can jump from camp to camp, leader to leader, brother to brother, sister to sister, child to child. These spirits, it's not like checkers, it's not like chess. They move all over the board how they want to, right? So we got to make sure we're operating in the right spirit. Let's move on. So we went through Eve, what Eve did, right? Inflated sense of self, grandiose sense of self. She wanted to be equal with God, above Adam, right? She became wise in her own eyes, which the scripture tells us, be not wise in our own eyes, fear the Lord and depart from evil. Did she fear the Lord? No, she didn't. She tried to teach. She tried to teach the serpent, which was a male. Can't do that, right? It's why the Most High told us and gave us the understanding, suffering not a woman to teach. Because it turns into something else. Because guess what? Let's say that dude ain't really trying to hear that. The Most High put a rage spirit or wrathful spirit on her. He decided he gonna sock off on a female. She's not strong enough to take that. We've seen that in the Olympics, right? The lady from Italy, right? The Southabot hit her with a Mamma Mia. She said, hey, time out, regroup. You know what I'm saying? Let's assess the matter. I'm taking a permanent knee. I'm done, right? I'm done, right? We don't vote for anyone that is not our brothers. And you know what? We don't, our president, our leader, our commander-in-chief is the Most High. And his vice president is Yahushua, right? I'm voting for that ticket, right? Let's make the kingdom, which is the real White House, with streets of gold and gems and ruby. Don't y'all want to go there to don't you want to get a tour of the White House of the Most High? I know I do. I want to be able to go through one of the 12 gates. I want to be able to dap up one of the 12 angels. Oh, man. Okay, I made it. Oh, Brother Ezra, I made it. Oh, and they, you know what I'm saying? Don't y'all want that? Right? Put a 1 in the chat if you wanna tour the White House of the Most High. Put a 1 in the chat for that, right? Which is the kingdom. The White House of the Most High is the kingdom, right? That's where the angel is the Secret Service, right? They're standing there at the gate. You can't get in one of those 12 gates unless you got an invitation, right? I know I want to go. I want to be able to go out there and see the throne room of the Most High. I want to be able to see my ancestors like Solomon, David, Moses, right? I want to be able to see Samson, right? If you may, I want to be able to sup with Yahushua. All of these things at that inauguration dinner when you are given the opportunity to get into the kingdom. Man, that's a great feeling, bro. Give you goosebumps thinking, man, we made it through the wilderness. Yahushua retaught us, so we're on one accord. There won't be any separation of camps based on doctrine, right? Our women will be in order. Children will be in order. Our men will be in order, right? It will be a supreme order, right? Being able, it's not going to be like how the Hebrew summit's going to be. Oh, that's Captain so-and-so, that's this and that. Can I get a picture? I don't think it's going to be like that in the kingdom. Just going to be, you're going to be happy enough to be able to be in the presence of them, right? I'll do that when I go, but we got work to do here first. The only work we got to do here is keeping the laws, statutes, commandments, and preparing ourselves for the kingdom. That's the only work we got. Keeping the laws, statutes, commandments, coming out of sin. If you think that voting, right? If you think that trying to get someone into Congress or one of these political systems, which is against the teachings and the words of the Most High, is something that we have to do here, brother or sister, you're sadly mistaken. That stuff means nothing. That's why when you vote, the popular vote doesn't even count. It doesn't count. Google it. You're not teaching the class, Google it. The popular vote doesn't count. They already vote the president in behind closed doors. They just want to see what the populace thought. That's it. Exactly. So if they want to put Agent Orange in now, that's fine. If they want to put the red dot rebel in there, okay, that's how it's gonna go. But I tell you what, we just seen the traits of Eve. She carries that because she walks around in this spirit. I got on my pearls and my chucks. Ladies, don't fall for that. She ain't one of you. She's not like us. Trust me, she one of them, not one of those. She one of them, not one of those. So you got to think about that, right? Now we're going to move on to Exhibit B, Rachel and Leah. Now y'all probably said, dang, Rachel and Leah, right? Got to get these examples, right? These were Jacob's wives, right? 2 of the 4 of the women that the children of Israel came through, right? They were Syrian women by way of their father Laban. He was not a Syrian with the A in front, just Syrian, like Syria, Syrian, Syrian women, right? See what Rachel did? She stole her dad's gods, hid it in the bag. Jacob almost got in trouble for that. That's a lot of. She wasn't operating under honor their father and their mother, right? But that's a lot to go into. We're going over to the book of Genesis, chapter 29. We get Exhibit B, right? We're going to see what spirit, right, that these sisters operated in. And we probably read these stories 100 times. But let's see. We're going to the book of Genesis 29, and we'll start at 31. All right? Let's see here. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at 30. And he went into Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah. Okay? And served. Oh, you know what? No, I don't want to jump up there yet. I'm going to go to 31. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, okay? He opened the womb, but Rachel was barren, right? Okay. So we already heard that. When the Lord saw, because the Lord sees everything, even if you're not saying it, even if you're not showing it on the surface level, the Lord knows, like I said, the Lord knows my heart. Well, guess what? He knew Rachel's heart. So when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb and Rachel's was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son. And she called his name Reuben, right? For he said, surely the Lord have looked upon my afflictions. Now, therefore, my husband will love me, right? And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, because the Lord have heard that I was hated, he have therefore given me a son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, now this time my husband will be joined unto me, because I've borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi, right? And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing, right? Shalom, salute, Officer Yaakov, right? So what type of spirit did Rachel operate in? She was jealous. Jealousy is a trait of narcissism, right? She was jealous, right? Leah was having several children. She was on the sideline, right? Yep, envy. Yep, envy. But that falls under the hat of jealousy. The jealousy will create an envious spirit. All of these spirits are things that separate our sisters in the truth, separate our households in the truth, separate our men from their families in the truth, right? Or in the world too. Think about it. Woman's jealous, right? Let's say you have a woman you have a baby with a woman. She tells you it's not working out. I don't want to be with you anymore. We'll just go ahead and co-parent. It's the BS that they start. I want you to move on with your life. We can't do this. Go ahead. I don't care if you get with somebody else, this, that, and the third, right? It could be 2-3 years down the line, right? She could have dealt with numerous men. But as soon as she sees you on social media, just y'all make y'all mistakes, or out in public with that woman that's modest, that's keeping the law, that say you're in order, she's in order, right? And she sees y'all together, or she comes by the house and sees that woman there, shalom, Lamar bit, right? Then here comes that jealousy spirit, that envious spirit. Why he don't want to be? Because you said you didn't want to be with him. A lot of these women I see on social media saying, I divorced my husband, but life is so hard. Now I have to take care of the kid and this, that, the other. No, you chose child support over having a husband. You chose that. The court says, hey, the only thing you're responsible to do by law now is to support the family financially, right? That's the only thing. Now it's, everything's so hard. This woman, she was fake crying, right? I can't even go to the gym and work out because my child doesn't want to be in the kids' corner with everyone else. I can't even get in a good set. And you chose that. You get like how they say, you got to look at the red flags. The scripture says you have to prove, you know what I'm saying? Prove all things, right? All things, relationships, love, respect, honesty. You're not proving that, right? You got to prove a friend. The scripture tells us to prove a friend, right? But if the scripture tells you prove all things, that goes outside of just friends. That means you got to prove your husband. You got to prove your wife. And you got to prove your children, right? You got to prove everything you have, the roof of your house, your vehicle, right? You got to prove your job, right? Yes, women do abuse divorce, right? But this is why the Most High allows them to go through that. He allows the man to go through that because guess what? He didn't prove her. He did not prove her according to the scriptures. Just because she been down with me for X amount of years, that don't mean nothing. If we're not proving our husbands, our wives, our children based on what the scriptures say, you're asking for it in the future. You're asking for it in the present, right? We seen what happened to our forefathers and foremothers. At that time when Moses was writing a bill of divorce to avoid them from going into sin because these people wanted to divorce their wife. She didn't make the chicken right. I don't like the way she washed my feet. The way that she calls me Lord, she doesn't seem like she really want to do that. They were acting stupid, lovers of self, right? because we got to look at both sides of the spectrum in regards to it. Men, you can't be taken out the spirit by a woman, a child, another brother. Women, you can't be taken out of the spirit based on what another woman said on social media, what another man said on social media, because this is where a lot of our women get their talking points from. Unfortunately, not all of them, right? I said most of them. But there's some women who they don't have time for social media. They're too busy. They're too busy doing other things. But a lot of these women, and that's the reason why I hate social media so much. I abhor social media, right? Because it makes our women do all types of things, right? And do all types of, they'll say, well, if he really loves you, you're gonna test him, right? There's a story about a woman, right? She sued a man. I think this is in China. She sued a man after she brought 25 of her relatives on a blind date without telling him to test his generosity, right? And he left without paying. So she took him to court to sue him, and she lost. And the court said, all you got to do is pay for your dinner and her dinner. But them other people, the other 25, can't do nothing for that. The bill was $3,100, and they was upset, right? This is an inflated sense of self. This is a grandiose sense of self. This is a lack of empathy. This is entitlement, right? A lot of the women got in there, oh, if he had it, he should have just paid for it. Really? So you bring a family reunion on a blind date, and you expect a man who doesn't know any of these people to just say, oh, yeah, I'm going to pay a $3,100 bill for people I've never met, and I barely know you. It wasn't his fiance. It wasn't his wife. It was a blind date. It was the initial date. That right there is how you have an inflated sense of self, right? This is how you have the lack of empathy or the need for excessive admiration, the sense of entitlement, right? These terms, right? That's the foolishness right there. But let's go back to what we're talking about, Rachel and Leah. Rachel was jealous of Leah, right? Right? But then when you jump up, because I had to read that, when you jump up to 30, you'll see that Leah was jealous also. Want to know why? Let's see why. Genesis 29 and 30. It says, and he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years, right? She was younger, right? He figured, oh, well, she went into me. He was tricked into laying with Leah. He never wanted Leah. Laban, right, which wasn't our people, which was a Syrian man, not Assyria, Syrian man like Syria, whatever they're dropping the balls at, Syrian, Syrian man, whole different customs, served different gods, didn't serve the Most High. This is the reason why he kept moving the goalposts. Hey, work for me, I'll give you Rachel, right? He met Rachel by the well, right? Can I give the scripture where it says, no, that wasn't something that was commanded, right? That was something that Christ did for the disciples. It's just to show a level of humility, right? Or humbleness, right? In regards to it. When Christ washed the disciples' feet, right? I mean, there's a scripture that shows in Matthew 26:6 that makes the reference in regards to what Mary did for Christ when she took the oils from the alabaster box and anointed Christ, right? Before he was getting ready to be apprehended. But in regards to it, there's no commandment that says you gotta wash your husband's feet. There's no commandment that says that, right? But Christ did that for his disciples, right? To show them, hey, I'm a servant of my Father. I'm doing this just to show humbleness and humility in regards to I'm not above the program. We can't be above the program, right? We can't. You can't be above the Most High. He is the program. He is the supreme. He is the Most High. Christ knew that, right? His Father said, hey, you're going to die on the cross for their sins. Christ didn't buck up at his daddy. Daddy, is you crazy, bro? I helped create I did this and that. No, he didn't. Okay. Went on down there and did it. Because this is how Christ and his Father are one. They're on one accord. Christ can't tell his daddy, hey, I'm getting tired of waiting for You would have sent me down here, Dad. I'm going, because he just walk out of heaven and slam the door, right? That's foolishness. You can't do that, right? Christ can't do that. We can't go to Christ and say, hey, I'm not going to do X, Y, Z. I'm not going to do what your daddy said do. His dad, the Most High hears everything, right? We're going to get how he hears everything. Don't be fooled. He heard when Eve was out there trying to teach the serpent, right? He knew she was going to get finesse. He let her get finesse because you want to go out here and be disobedient. Quit running for you fall and hurt yourself. Next thing you know, now you just scraped yourself up. Yeah, I'm going to put this peroxide on it. It hurts. Yeah, I know it hurts not to listen. I know it hurts not to pay attention. Quit doing that before you hurt yourself. Then they come in the room crying. Yeah, it hurts. Yeah, you're right. Good, it hurts. You know not to do that anymore. And Most High has to do that with us because we can be hard-headed and stiff-necked, right? And not listen to what the Lord put on about us. A stiff neck is a broken neck. Think about it. If your neck completely stiff, you got whiplash. You only can look like this and look like that. You can't really focus. You can't focus. You can't be stiff-necked. I'm not going to do what the Lord say do. What is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with any of us, right? You can't let that stiff-neck spirit get you stiff-necked, right? Your chin going to get checked. Your neck going to be stiff like this. Yeah, you tell the Lord, check my chin when you being stiff-necked. And when he check your chin, sleep, it's time to go to sleep, right? It's time to go night-night. But we learned that these two women, which was our foremothers, right? These were the women that the Most High chose. 2 out of the 4 of the women that the Most High chose to bring forth the nation of Israel, right? But they were operating in the spirit of jealousy, right? They were operating that because number one, they were under the Syrian understanding, right? They were under the understanding of their father, right? So they were jealous one of the other, right? She was jealous of Leah having all the children. She couldn't have none. And she hated her sister in her heart, right? The Most High could see her heart. He saw that she was hated, right? So you can't think that you can get away with doing something in your mind and the Most High is not going to know about it. He knows all, right? So when you tell your husband or your wife, you think you know it all. Women, stop saying that. Men, stop saying that. The only person that knows everything is the Most High. Don't disrespect the Most High by trying to put them in the same category as the only person that knows all and sees all. Because you don't like the fact that you're wrong or incorrect again. Maybe you should humble yourself, study, ask for a spirit of discernment so you can have some understanding and wisdom. If you're not praying for that, if you're going there with I call it a stopwatch prayer. You go in there and pray like you at a car auction. Amen. Really? Really? Okay. So the Most High heard one word out of your prayer and he don't bless you, that's on you. Because you went in there playing with him. You take your time. Christ went up on a mountain and prayed for hours. He told the disciples, hey, don't fall asleep. Came back down, they were asleep. Left again, came back down, they were asleep. Stop sleeping on the Lord, man. Stop sleeping on the Lord, right? We got to make sure, sisters, that y'all not operating in jealousy. Don't be jealous of your sisters. Don't be jealous of your brothers. Don't be jealous of other households, right? Brothers, don't be covetous, but that's what the jealousy goes into, being covetous. This is how we're breaking the laws. We got to learn from the examples that the scriptures teach us to not be, you got to be better than the actual scenarios, right? He doesn't hear the prayers of sinners. Exactly. This is why you need to always make sure you start out your prayer with, Lord, please forgive me of all my sins by thought, word, or deed. Shemaya Palal, hear my prayer, right? You got to ask, I repent of these sins that I've committed. You have to go there. You have to get your laundry list of things that you did. Then you ask, Lord, have mercy on this. You say that Lord's Prayer first. Then you go into adding on the things that you feel that you need. And if you can't pray without the spirit of carnalness, being carnal or repetition, the things they tell us not to do in prayer or prayer for hypocrite. Write your prayer out. Write it out. Write it out on paper, right? And go in there, you in the closet, read your prayer to the Most High. That way you know that you're staying in the spirit and you're not asking for something that does not need to be said, right? Great. Hey, Reggie, where's my eyebrows? Where's my eyebrows, Reggie? Right? Everybody put the hand over the face emoji for Reggie. He's late. He's late. You're breaking the laws by shaving your beard. I had alopecia since I was 7. My hair fell out. I've never put a razor on my face or my head. So, again, laugh at yourself. Everybody hand over the face for Reggie, because Reggie came in and gave a sacrifice of fools. We don't take super chats in here, right? We don't do it, right? We don't take super chats, but Reggie brought a sacrifice of fools. Poor Reggie, right? Again, you got to stop coming. Here's the narcissist, right? Here's the feminine spirit. It jumped on Reggie. You're breaking the laws by shaving your head and no beard. Reggie, I know, Reggie. I know, right? I know. The Soul Circus in town. Don't be a clown for the Soul Circus, Reggie, right? I have no eyebrows. You didn't even look at that. You didn't even come in and humble yourself, brother. We focusing on saving our nation. He comes in, I'm gonna give a sacrifice of fools and put emojis and ha ha ha, I got the last laugh. Well, guess what? The Most High just embarrassed you in front of everybody in real time. Congratulations. And it's sad that every class that I do, you get somebody that comes in. And do I have to put a hashtag on the titles? Hashtag I have alopecia. Should I do that to help them avoid the actual sacrifice of fools? Why should we do this, right? But he came in, inflated sense of self, trying to influence others excessively. He cut his hair off. He shaved his beard, but you're teaching about the laws, right? He had a grandiose, because we're going to point out the narcissistic spirit that this brother done brought in, right? Grandiose sense of self, considering yourself more talented or intelligent than others by trying to one-up the achievements of others. You got a grandiose sense of self spirit, brother, right? Are you suffering from the spirit of feminism? Huh? Right? Lack of empathy, inconsiderate of one's feelings, emotions, and opinions of others, right? Inconsiderate. My brothers and sisters, my wife is here watching this, and you come in with an insult. You insult and bear false witness, telling me I'm breaking the laws of the Most High. But guess what? I have not broke no such law, right? It's sad. Now he's gone. Now you don't see Reggie no more. Exactly. Why don't you put a Salakia in the chat? Matter of fact, go to your prayer closet if you pray to the Most High and you ask for forgiveness for bearing false witness against your brother, if you're one of us. If you're not and you're a heathen, hey, I don't know what to tell you, right? Yep, you're right. The Most High's gonna let that spirit that's saying, hey, let me go ahead and put the spirit on somebody to assume that he's breaking the law. That's the sad part. This is where that spirit of the narcissism comes in the most in our nation, because they start to have a lack of empathy for their brothers, right? They have entitlement, right? They have that entitlement. I can say what I want to say. I got the freedom of speech. Okay. You're given too much liberty because your mouth has now caused you to sin. Right? I never worry. I've been, like I said, I done had alopecia since I was 7, right? So every bald head joke you can hear, he's Mr. Clean, right? I could be Mr. Clean because Mr. Clean got eyebrows, right? Then it went from Mr. Clean to Powder. Remember the movie Powder? Buddy that could electrocute everybody and went to that. Oh, he's Powder. And when I told him, if I electrocute you to death, how would you feel about that if I could do that? Then they stopped kind of with that. You know, the girl's like, you're a milk dud and you're Eminem, and every little lame joke that I could hear, I've heard. But what did it teach me to be? Quick-witted. And I mean quick with it. So you got a joke, I got a joke too. Now my joke might be funnier than yours, because guess what? Being bald-headed as a child, you can't really argue because Michael Jordan was bald-headed. So a lot of people was just like, well, Michael Jordan bald-headed, I like him. And I'm laughing at him. Maybe he want to be like Michael Jordan. Some people start to make sense and they say, you know what? I'm not going to pick on him about that, right? That's the whole thing. The Most High sometimes takes you through something to make you stronger for a more important job, right? That alopecia was an on-the-job training for what I do now. It allows me now to have a conversation with our nation, right? Reference to Laban and Rachel and Leah. He wasn't an Israelite. Laban was Syrian. He was Syrian. Remember when Rachel went in the room and stole his gods that he was worshiping and put them inside the little satchel on Jacob's bag? And it created an issue because she tried to lie and say, oh, I'm on my cycle. You can't touch it. Like she's sitting on the stuff in there, and it created an issue between Jacob and Laban. It made it look like Jacob was a thief when Rachel did that, right? Let's see here. God, all praise to the Most High, man, because he's the one to give me the strength, as well as he's the one that allows me to be a servant to get out and feed his sheep as he's instructed us to do, right? So I pray if Reggie is a brother of the 12 tribes, that he goes and repents to the Father, right? The Son, and basically he can come back and get edified, and that the Most High doesn't bring judgment or punishment upon him, because as we learned in the last class, touch not my anointed. You don't want to do that, right? Like Capt talk, you don't put your mouth on everybody. You don't do that, because if that's one of the people that the Most High is working with, that could be a problem for you, because he could bring that on there, right? Jacob was Israel. His name was changed from Jacob to Israel, right? But Rachel, Leah, Laban, right? They were Syrian, right? That's the reason why Jacob's mother was like, hey, go in here and we're going to do the finesse. We're going to put the goat hair on you and you're going to get this blessing. The angel went to her and put a spirit on her and she did it. She got the blessing, right? And she said, let that blood fall on me. Because Jacob was like, I don't want to do that. He knew the laws. Most I was dealing with him. Oh, hey, I don't want to do that to my dad. No. Do what I say do. So what law did Jacob follow? Honor thy mother and father. He was being obedient to his mother. She said, okay. She said, look, hey, whatever happens, that's on me. It's not on you, son. I told you to do this. Just go ahead and do it, right? So we're going to keep going. Now, we saw how Leah was jealous of Jacob's love for Rachel, right? Now, if Laban would have just stayed righteous, which he couldn't be righteous because he was a heathen, but if he would have did as the laws, let's say if Laban was an Israelite and didn't keep moving the goalposts, he would have snuck his baby girl in there with Jacob, which is the younger daughter, right? Of a marital age. It wasn't nothing funny going on, so let's not even assume that, but he snuck his youngest daughter in there because he wanted to keep Jacob, because he saw what Jacob was doing for his property. How Jacob was, the Most High was with Jacob, and he was flourishing because of that. So he was using discernment. He wasn't stupid. He was like, well, everything that he's touching is flourishing, it's growing. It is, you know what I'm saying? He's increasing, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send my daughter and I'm gonna get him a little tipsy, get him a little drunk, send her in the tent, and he gonna go ahead and lay with her. And that's what Jacob came to her and said, what have you done? Shalom, Officer Barakai, right? Rachel was the oldest. Leah was the youngest, right? So he put Leah, the youngest, in there to go ahead and do it, right? So, and this is where we have to make sure we're not operating in the spirit of jealousy, because Laban was acting jealous. He didn't want to lose Jacob, so he wanted to covet the blessing that Jacob was enduring while he was on the land, right? That's where he was actually operating in, and it was jumping. Those spirits jump, right? Those spirits jump. Because guess what? When we go into Sirach 26:6, it tells us something very simple, right? Because they had a spirit on them of a grief of heart, right? Sirach 26:6. It says, but the grief of heart and sorrow is a woman scourge of the tongue, which communicateth with all, right? You said Leah was the oldest aunt? I said it backwards. Well, Salaki if I said it backwards. As far as I thought Leah was the, it must not be done when it comes to give. Salakia, verse 26 says that. Salakia. I stand corrected up. So he's either way, he finessed it. He was supposed to give Rachel, he gave Leah. So I stand corrected. Leah was the oldest. I said that backwards. Salakia family, right? But it says, but a grief of heart and sorrow is a woman that is jealous of another woman, right? That's a grief of heart, because guess what? Rachel was so upset in regards to not being able to actually give Jacob the children, right? Leah was jealous of Jacob's love for Rachel, right? So they had jealousy of heart in regards to that, right? This is that grief of heart and sorrow. And it says the scourge is like a whipping, right? Because the Most High saw that Leah was hated by Rachel. He saw that. He could see that, right? Because that's exactly what the scripture says. And it says here, go back. Go back. I'm going to get the verse 30. It says in Genesis chapter 29:30, and he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 years, right? And then right here, when we go to verse 31, and when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, so that he could see that Rachel had a disdain or a hate for her sister being able to have children for the man that loved her more than her, right? This right here is what led into that grief of heart. And it says a woman, and it says being a woman jealous of another woman, right? And a scourge, which is whipping of the tongue, which communicated with all, right? So the Most High could see how this could have went, right? He could have seen how that could have went. Yes, that's the spirit of jealousy. That's one of the actual traits of narcissism, right? That's one of the traits. So let me get them here. Get my little thing right here. You have, and these are traits of a narcissist: need for admiration, impersonality, exploitive behavior, grandiose feelings, attention seekers, frequent criticism, right? Arrogance, manipulation, self-centered, belief in superiority, expecting special treatment, exploits others, few boundaries, frequent envy, right? Having that frequent envy, jealousy, right? Lack of empathy, low unstable self-esteem, sense of entitlement. These spirits attack our nation. They attack our women through social media, right? Because we saw Eve didn't consider the Most High. She, in Genesis 3 and 5, she wanted to be equal with God and above Adam. She had a grandiose sense of self, right? Because she heard, oh, if I eat this, I'm going to be a God. Yeah, let me go ahead and eat this, right? And these are the worldly modern women. Not every woman carries this spirit, but every woman can be attacked by these spirits, and so can men. Nobody is above being attacked or a spirit jumping onto you. None of us are, right? None of us are. Only Christ was, and the Most High controls the spirits. So those are the only two that can ever be like, hey, spirit can't jump on me, right? So we're going to keep going. Envious of others is where we're going to see where this story led to. Because the grief of heart caused Rachel to do something that's not wise to do, right? Mother Rachel, right? Let's see here. We're going down to Genesis 30. Genesis 31. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister. So this is being envious of others. This is another narcissistic trait. She was envied of her actual sister. This is where their jealousy would start to come in full swing. And what did she do? Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children, or else I die. So now you have put a death sentence on yourself, right? You put a death sentence on yourself. And what did Jacob say? And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, Am I in God's stead? Who hath withheld from thee the fruit of thy womb? Right? So at that point, he checked her on it. Now, did he disallow her? Did he go to the Lord and disallow that? He didn't. He was angry, but he didn't disallow it. He told her, look, I'm not the one that closed up your womb. God did. But did he disallow that, right? Because now we got to look at what happened down the line, right? And she said, give me children, or at least I die. Ooh, that wasn't smart to say. But the Lord heard that. He heard everything, right? Genesis 35, right? We're going to go to 35 and start at 16. And because she ended up having two children, right? Benjamin and another child, right? And it says, and they journeyed, right? We're in 35 and 16. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come from Ephraim. And Rachel travailed, right? This is at 3 and 16 from Genesis. She travailed and had hard labor, right? And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, fear not, thou shalt have this son also, right? And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoi, or Ben-Ani, which his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died and was buried in the way of Ephraim, which is in Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave. That is a pillar of Rachel's grave until this day, right? So he buried her in her own tomb, right? It was not at the ancestral tomb, which was in Machpelah, right? Which was the cave that Abraham had, right? That was the tomb that was for our ancestors. So he went ahead and gave her her own grave, right? In her own tomb, right? In regards to that. But her mouth, being envious of others, right? She jumped out her mouth and said, hey, you give me a child or else I die. And guess what? She died giving birth to the 12th child of the nation of Israel, right? That was the will of the Lord for that to happen. But women and men, children, we have to be very careful of what we say and what we do, because the Most High hears that. He hears it. Nothing you say or think in your heart or your mind goes out and is not heard by the Most High. He knows all, he hears all, he sees all, he does whatever he wants, right? The Lord does whatever he wants. So we have to remember that and not operate in these scenarios that have our nations separated. This is why it's so tough for a lot of people to come back to the truth. I was done mad. Shalom, Sister Genesis, right? We have to examine every situation, the eyes of the Most High. This is where you study to show thyself approved to the Lord, right? God, you want to be very careful of our tongue, because guess what? The tongue holds power, right? This showed me that you got to disallow what your wife says, right? Your wife might say, this is killing me, or I'm dead, or this, that, whatever. I disallow that, Lord. I disallow that. It may sound simple, like offshoot slang, but you have to disallow that, right? When your wife says something that's borderline blasphemous to the Most High, you got to go in there and disallow that, because if you don't, hey, the Most High's going to He's going to give you what you want, right? We're going to go into Exhibit C now, right? Which is Jezebel. She operated in a lot of narcissistic traits, right? She was an emotional manipulator. She appealed to Ahab's insecurities, anxiety, and emotions to subtly control him, right? That's what Jezebel, that's her intro, right? We're going over to 1 Kings, right? Going over to 1 Kings, like, share, subscribe as y'all come in, right? Shalom to everybody who have not made themselves known in the chat of my nations, right? So-called Negroes, Indigenous, Latinos, and Native Americans. Shalom to you, right? All right, so we're going into 1 Kings 16 and 31, right? And it says, and it came to pass, but this was Ahab, right? He was very wicked in his reign over Israel. And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jerubbaal, right? The son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, or Ethbaal, king of the Zidonians, right? And went and served Baal and worshiped him, right? So that's what Ahab ended up doing, because guess what? This is the reason why we was given certain commandments. Let's go to Exodus 22 and 20. Hold this, right? Hold that 1 Kings, because we coming back to 1 Kings, right? But this is the reason why, because he went and served Baal and worship, right? So Most High gave us instruction not to do certain things. We had laws on this stuff. Exodus 22 and 20, and it reads, he that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto the Lord only, he shall utterly be destroyed, right? That's spiritual fornication that he was operating in, right? Because she was an emotional manipulator. She appealed to his insecurities, his anxieties, and emotions to subtly control him. How did she control him? He went and served Baal and worshiped him, right? They went and worshiped Baal together. That's how she got him, right? So guess what? The commandment says, right? He that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto the Lord only, meaning you sacrifice to any god outside of the Most High, right? Most High said he's the only one, right? And it says, he shall utterly be destroyed, right? He shall be utterly destroyed. So that's a promise. The Most High is not a man that he shall lie, right? So what do we do at this point? We go to Deuteronomy 7, right? Let's get some more telling us why not to do it, because we'd be like, oh, but he did this and this. There's a reason why we were told not to do this, right? Deuteronomy 7, and we're going to start at verse, let's see here. That's Numbers. I'm about to read Numbers. No, that didn't read, right? Deuteronomy 7, verse 3, right? And it reads here, right? It says, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son, right? For they will turn away thy son from following me, Ahab, that they may serve other gods, Baal, right? So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly, right? So these were the things that were promised. If we did XYZ, guess what? You're going to get destroyed utterly, right? Because at the end of the day, the Most High has done everything for us, right? Everything for us. So yes, he's going to get angry. He's going to get jealous when we go out here and commit spiritual fornication, right? Because he says, make no marriage with the heathens, or you're going to turn away your son from following me. King Ahab was turned away from following the Lord. And what did he start doing? He started following Balaam, right? And became more wicked. It was creating wickedness in the kingdom by doing that. But it says, if the leader is wicked, the people are wicked, right? The king not keeping the commandments. You think he gonna make the children keep the Sabbath or do any of that stuff? Lie, right? Let's go over to Jerubbaal 10:2. It says, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed by the signs of the heaven, for the heathen are dismayed by them. Right? Didn't Jezebel get upset after the prophet went ahead and had all the 450 prophets killed? Right? Didn't she get upset about that? Because she was worshiping the so-called God of rain, right? But he prayed for rain, right? Rain came down after the drought. He prayed for the Most High to bring fire down and burn up the soak of the actual offering, right? He prayed for that. But guess what? Jezebel was upset in regards to that. Let's go back, right? But it told us, learn not the ways of the heathen. What did Ahab do? Serve Baal and worship him, right? Lord said, whoever sacrifice unto any god except the Lord, you'll be utterly destroyed, right? Make no marrying. Don't give your son or daughter to them. They're going to turn away your son, and he's going to destroy them suddenly. So we got the promises. We got the rules of engagement from the Lord, right? Okay, let's see what happened. Going back to Kings, 1 Kings 19:2. It says, in Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah. Elijah asked for that fire to come down. Elijah asked for that rain to come down, right? He killed them prophets. The reason why he did it, let's jump up to verse 1, right? And see what a beta. Ahab was a beta male. He wasn't an alpha male, right? Had no control of his kingdom because his wife was using emotional manipulation, that spirit of narcissism, right? And being a feminist, right? She was operating in that spirit. She was using that to appeal to his insecurities, his anxiety, and his emotions to subtly, and we heard that subtly before with the serpent, right? To subtly control him, right? He says, and Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, right? Pillow talking, right? And withal, how he had slain all the prophets with the sword, right? And get that precept in 1 Kings 18:40, right? He said, none of them shall get away. Slay them all. It's a lot of work, right? Verse 2, then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. So when she's like, look, since you killed all my prophets, let the gods do to me worse, right? If your life is not gone by tomorrow, right? She sent a very arrogant and haughty message. That's what she was operating in. The spirit of narcissism by way of arrogance, and as the scriptures call it, haughty behavior, which is prideful, right? She went in there sounding like Wakanda. Let him know these things here, right? Let the gods do to me more if I do not make my life as one of them by tomorrow this time, right? She said it down to the second. If that's not arrogant and haughty to threaten a prophet of the Most High, right? That wasn't her only thing, because she was an emotional manipulator, right? She was arrogant and haughty, right? Her husband was weak, so he was allowing all this to go on. He didn't put his foot down. Let's go on to see how she emotionally manipulated his insecurity, his anxiety, and his emotions being subtle, right? We're going to go over to 1 Kings 21, right? And we're going to go to verse, we'll go to verse 5, right? And it says, and this again, 1 Kings 21:5, right? But Jezebel, his wife, came in and said unto him, why is thy spirit so sad, right, that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, because I spake unto Naboth, to Jezreel, the Jezreelite, Salakia, and said unto him, give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it, right? And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. The reason why is because Ahab was operating outside the spirit. He was serving Baal, so he wasn't keeping the customs of the Israelites, right? Naboth knew that actual land, that vineyard, right? Because we jump up to verse 3, it says, and Naboth said unto Ahab, the Lord forbid it me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee, right? So he told him, thus say the Lord. And he rebuked Ahab with telling him, thus say the Lord, that he couldn't do it. And Ahab came in the room, just like your children, when you tell them they can't go outside and play, they come in the room, and they throw themselves on the bed like they dead or something, right? That's how Ahab was operating, right? Come on, we do have to be special people to make the Most High jealous. We are, right? So he came in there and he gave a different story to his wife because he didn't want to look like a beta, right? He didn't want to look like a beta. I offered him more money or royal vineyard for his vineyard. He didn't want to take it. So what did she do? That spirit was on her, and then now she's going to be an emotional manipulator, right? Why don't you want some of this bread? You don't want the bread? Okay, right? We jump down to verse 6, right? After she asked him about the bread, right? We already read verse 6, he didn't want to give up the vineyard. We jumped up to verse 3 to see why he didn't want to give the vineyard, because it's part of our custom to not do so. We have to give our inheritance to our bloodline, right? Verse 7, now, and Jezebel, his wife, said unto him, do thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Now, this is how she's being that emotional manipulator. She's appealing to his insecurity and his anxiety and his emotions, right? To control him, right? She says, do thou now govern the kingdom of Israel. Arise and eat bread. Let thy heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, right? She didn't say how she was going to do it, right? Ahab was a beta. He wasn't an alpha. The Most High is an alpha. We made in his image. We're supposed to operate as such, man. We're supposed to operate as an alpha, right? We're supposed to be a steward like Christ was. Christ was an alpha. Nobody else said verily, verily, especially like Christ. He didn't put people in check like Christ did, because he was of his father's business. He knew his dad didn't play, so Christ wasn't going to play, right? A lot of our women, unfortunately, want a beta. I don't like the way that you talk to me. I don't like that you raise your voice with me. This, that, and the other. Can you tell the Lord how hard the thunder? And that's what his voice sound like. You woke me out my sleep with your thunderous voice, Lord. Yeah, okay. Next thing you know, you got lightning coming through the window. Be very careful. Definitely don't put your mouth on the Lord. You definitely don't want to do that, or Christ, right? Or any of his word, or any of his anointed, or any of his people. Be very careful of that tongue, right? Be very careful of that tongue, because you could be the next. Did you hear about so-and-so, right? You don't want to be the next. Did you hear about so-and-so with the sad music in the background? You don't want to be that, right? So she went ahead and she told him, I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, right? So what did she do at that point? She manipulated more people, right? She manipulated more people. Let's see how, right? So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, forgery, and sealed them with his seal, forgery, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in the city dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the letter, saying, proclaim a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. She knew the covenants of the people, right? This heathen, right? She she was a very good emotional con, that Eve spirit. What spirit did y'all ask? In case y'all just came in? Inflated sense of self, right? Trying to influence others excessively. That's what she was doing. She had a grandiose sense of self, considering herself more intelligent than others by one-up achievements of others. You're a beta, baby. Let me handle this. Let me do this. She operated like that. He laid down and let his wife create lies as well as bearing false witness, because he wasn't keeping the laws of the Most High anyway. He already tried to take that man's inheritance, which the Most High made him rebuke him and say, thus say the Lord, I can't give you this inheritance. But guess what? He went back, he pouted, he acted like an effeminate, because he was worshiping weak Baal. He was worshiping that weakness, right? He wasn't worshiping a mighty alpha, which is the Most High, right? The alpha of alphas, the Most High, right? He's not even getting off his throne to deal with the problems. He's just going to snap his fingers. He's just going to think it, and it's done. That's it, right? She had a lack of empathy for others, right? She was inconsiderate of the feelings and emotions and opinions of others. She's writing a lie to elders and nobles, right? If this was to ever come out that it was a lie, now they're going to look a certain way to the people, right? They're going to be with a verse saying, what have thou done, right? But they ain't even get that part, right? Entitlement, believing they were above the rules and the laws that apply to everyone else. She felt that she was above the actual law of the Most High. He told her what this man said, not in those words, but if she knew enough to tell them to go do a fast, right, then she knew enough of how our laws operated for her to even write a letter saying, y'all need to go fast, right? Unto the elders and nobles. She knew exactly the chain of command to send the letters to, right? So she did it. She says in verse 9, and she wrote in the letter saying, proclaim a fast and set Naboth on high among the people, right? So now she's creating this actual manipulating scenario because she's already arrogant and haughty, right? She's already threatened Elijah, saying, hey, let the Lord, do unto me if your life not like the prophets that were wicked, that you killed 450 of by tomorrow this same time. She's already showing you the pride and the haughtiness and the arrogance of her narcissism, right? She's showing you that spirit. So now what she's doing as we're reading here, right? Verse 10, and set two men, sons of, Belial, before him, right? I don't know if I'm saying that right, Brother Belial. So it's Belial, I guess. Yeah, Belial, right? Before him to bear witness against him, saying, thou did blaspheme God and the king, and then carry him out and stone him that he may die. And the men of the city, even the elders and the nobles who were the inhabitants in his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them. They proclaimed a fast, set Naboth on high among the people, and there came in two men, children of Belial, all right, and sat before him. And the men of Belial witnessed against him, even saying Naboth in the presence of the people, saying Naboth did blaspheme God and the king. And they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones, and he died. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money, for Naboth is not alive but dead, right? So see how one lie turns into something else, right? See how it turns into something else? He didn't tell her what Naboth told him. He was like, oh, well, I'll offer him money, right? Naboth said in verse 3, he says, and Naboth said unto Ahab, the Lord forbid it me, right? Thus say the Lord forbid it me, because he's telling him the commandments, he's rebuking with the commandments, that I should give thee the inheritance of my fathers unto thee, because you can't do that, right? You cannot do that. But again, guess what? He didn't care about the law of inheritance, right? He didn't care about that because he was worshiping Baal. He was being controlled by his wife, who was operating under a narcissistic spirit of feminism, right? She was operating under a narcissistic spirit of feminism. Sisters, you got to be very careful. You can't be an emotional manipulator. We're learning from Jezebel. This is what she was. You can't operate in arrogant, haughty behavior. Whatever. I don't care what you say. I'm going to do it anyway. That's arrogant, haughty behavior, right? Jezebel manipulated the elders and nobles that have Naboth killed for blasphemy after emotionally manipulating them, right? But we got to understand something, right? That spirit of Eve runs very rampant. But Sirach gave us a warning in Sirach 25:19 that clearly states all wickedness, right? Sirach 25:19. Sisters, y'all got to be careful with this, right? Got to be careful. These spirits want y'all. They know how important y'all are to the nation, right? All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her, right? Why does the scripture say that? Because of what Jezebel was doing was an example. Clear-cut example of what she did, right? Clear-cut example. Let's get another thing that Jezebel was operating in, right? As Jezebel, boy, she had a lot of these spirits on her, a lot. And like the scriptures say, the spirits be looking for a dry place. Ahab was dry, right? Super dry. He wasn't on fire for the Lord. He was on fire for Baal. He already broke them laws. He took a heathen for a wife. She got him to serve her God. He said he's going to be destroyed utterly, right? And suddenly, as the scriptures told us. We're not supposed to make any marriages with them, but again, he went against that, right? He allowed his wife to threaten a prophet of the Most High God, right? She allowed that arrogant and haughty behavior, right? And the scriptures say, touch not my anointed. Y'all didn't learn after he killed 450 prophets? Y'all didn't learn as he summoned fire from the skies, thus say the Lord? By the way of the Most High, he summoned down rain. He asked the Most High to bring down the fire, then the rain. Y'all think she put her mouth on this man, right? She had to pay for it, right? But let's get some more of her narcissism. 1 Kings 9:30, right? Let's see here. Was it 1 Kings 9:30? Hold on, Salakia. Not 1 Kings 9:30. 2 Kings 9:30. Salakia, right? 2 Kings 9:30. And when Jehu was come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, right? And she painted her face and tied her head and looked out the window, right? They said she put on a wig and she put makeup on, right? Because here comes that spirit of manipulation. Here comes that arrogance and haughty behavior. I'm so pretty, he can't resist me. I know he's coming to get me, but I'm gonna try and woo him like I woo my husband, right? Yeah, well, hey, guess what? What he shall want, he shall get, right? And that's the unsubtleness of that, right? Because now the Most High, hey, did away with him. He really don't need Blueface. He don't need Christian Rock, right? He don't need any of them. But what the social media show us, everybody loved them, right? Everybody loved Blueface and Christian Rock's little narcissistic, toxic relationship. But the gymnast, Biles, and her husband that he's married to, everybody hating on her because she let him wear his gold medal. So do y'all hate on a sister if she's married to a football player that's popular? He's a rapper, Brother Lamar. He's a rapper out of California, Blueface, right? And him and his wife, Christian Rock, the girl that's missing the front tooth, they always be out there arguing into each other, the two light-skinned brothers and sisters. They had a baby or something. And they were always out there arguing. That's who Blueface is. You know what I'm saying? He stayed getting in trouble, right? I'm very sure he done seen the prophets. He done heard a lot of our people. That's why a lot of times I don't feel bad for them, right? Because I'm very sure each and every one of everybody on this planet, if you heard of the color red or the sky's blue or a dog barks, you've heard about Israelites. You've heard that the Most High God has made us Israelites. You've heard one of these prophets on the corner and they turned their shoulder and stopped up their ears and they want to hear it. Now you in jail, right? Really sleeping with a lot of women, right? Well, now he gonna be sleeping with the homies on the cell block. You know what I'm saying? Having sea-walk contests and things of that nature, I guess, right? Yeah, and hey, you know what? It's all good. It's all good to be out of touch with it because a lot of this music, right, and some of the Hebrew music, some of them brothers and sisters aren't serving the Lord as they're supposed to, keeping the commandments, walking without fringes, right? Not dressing modestly. Their message on there like, oh, I don't want to be part of a congregation, things of that nature. Secret sins because they want to be seen of men and the spirit of vanity, which is narcissism, right? They have that narcissistic trait on them. So we got to make sure that we're on point with the Lord. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Israelite music, nothing wrong with it, but you got to know who you're listening to sometimes too, right? You got to know who you're listening to. I just leave it as that. I ain't putting nobody out there, right? But I'm very sure y'all done heard enough different scenarios on social media, right? Drill music, yeah. It's funny that they call it drill music, right? Because that's the same thing they have to do to close your coffin shut, drill it shut. But that's a whole nother breakdown. But let's get back to Jezebel had been told she was going to die, right? Elijah had prophesied that she was going to die, right? How she was going to die. So when she heard that Jehu was coming to Jezreel, she painted her face and put on a wig, right? Or tied her head, right? And looked out the window, right? Because she was following the customs of her people. Wigs come through the customs of Hamites, right? That's exactly what they come through, right? Cool. Brothers that do music having off doctrines. Yeah, a lot of them do. A lot of them do, and that's the sad part because they operate in this narcissistic feminist spirit. They want all the attention, right? They want to, hey, I ain't got to wear fringes to this show. I can just show up like how I show up. They want me to sing my song. They want me to do my rap, and it's that. They're not out here teaching on the streets. And they'll say, well, that's not my administration. Feed my sheep, bro. Feed my sheep, right? I know how to do music, but that's not important to me. Doing these classes are important to me, right? Doing these classes are important to me. That's important. Doing the will of the Father, feeding his sheep, making sure that we try to bring the empathy to our nation, right? We try to edify our nation, pleasing the Lord by doing his will. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Not worrying about how many spins we got, right? Can we book so-and-so to come perform at our feast day? Why? He gonna show up with no fringes on. She's gonna show up with pants on. Y'all cool with that? With no fringes on. Y'all cool with that? As long as the song, y'all can jam to y'all song, y'all don't care how they show up. Now, this is where you have to evaluate yourself, right? The sheep hear the voice of the Most High. The Most High said, keep my commandments, and you're not keeping the commandments, then you got to ask yourself, am I a sheep of the Lord? You got to ask yourself, right? In Jeremiah 4:30, right? I'm going to get that. Because she thought she was going to manipulate this brother, right? Because you got to think about what actually happened. She looked up, right? I'm going to read it real quick because it's funny how she went out, right? Verse 31. And Jehu entered the gate, and she said, had Zemai peace, right? Who slew his master? And he lifted up his head to the window, right? And she was like, oh, you coming to kill me? We got peace? We got a problem? Hey, we cool, right? Right? And he lifted up his face to the window and said, who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs. And he said, throw her down. So they threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall. So she was like, back to where her junk skeeted on the wall, right? And on the horses, and he trod under her foot, right? And he trod her underfoot. So he rolled over her with the chariot that he was on, right? And when he was to come in, right? And when he was come in, he did eat and drink and said, go see how this cursed woman, right? And bury her, for she is a king's daughter. And they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull and the feet and the palms of her hands. So she went out bad, bro. Elijah said you was gonna go out bad, and she did. Get that Jeremiah, right? Because she thought that she was gonna, hey you, out the window, and he was gonna be like, dang, she look good, bro. Let me not kill her, right? Fake eyelashes, yes, but they call them in the adult industry, right? Cumbrellas, unfortunately, right? That's a C-brellas. That's what they call them, right? Women out here with these eyelashes on, committing witchcraft. You don't look like that. The Most High didn't have you come out with those eyelashes on, right? Didn't. I don't know if y'all seen that video with the brothers had the things that you put on the front of the clippers. See, I don't know nothing about clippers. I ain't never had a haircut like that. The things that you use to put on the clippers, those that you push the hair, they had those on their eyes. I said, this is how y'all women look with those eyelashes on. You can't even see nothing, right? Y'all got a veil over your eyes, ladies, all right? Y'all don't want to operate like that. Y'all definitely don't want to do that. Let's keep going, right? And she was basically trying to have a exaggerated sense of self-importance by trying to do her hair up, right? By trying to actually do that, right? But in Jeremiah 4:30, it tells you right here, it says, and when thou art spoiled with crimson, thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, throughout thou rentest thy face with painting. In vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee. They will seek thy life, right? He looked up and said, who's with me? And they put their head out. He said, throw her down. Who? Right out the window. Head first. It said she head first on the actual, I don't know if it was like a vineyard or garden that was outside the window, but guess what? Head first up out that mug, right? Which rooms? I showed the sister that and pulled up the source. She was in complete shock. Of course, they should be shocked. They out here looking like Furbies, man. They're out here looking like China Black. You remember Furbies, the little toys? The little bird, the little fat little bird with the big old eyes, with the big old lashes? That's what these women look like, bro. With these lashes on, these extra large lashes. Now, if you want to put some lashes on your eyes, fine. But be content with the beauty that the Lord gave you. Because when you take that off and you're like, hey, or let's say the lash, the companies that do the lashes go out of business because they kind of find out it's making women blind or doing other things, which it already is doing, right? What you gonna wear then? You're gonna look crazy. The Furbies, yep. You remember the Furbies back in the day? That's what they look like. They be batting them things. They get stuck while they batting their eyes, driving the car. Hey, you're gonna crash, right? Or the lashes hanging on, they dear life. Take that thing off your eye. Take the other one off too. You're going to look like the baby you is because you done ripped all your natural lashes off, right? Shalom Adorn, right? You done ripped all your natural lashes off, taking off the other all the other lashes, right? To the point where you don't even feel comfortable with the beauty that the Most High has blessed you with, because now you have a We're going to get into it. Hold on. We're going to go right back to that, right? She had an exaggerated sense of self-importance, right? Let's see who else had an issue with Jezebel. Y'all know where I'm going, right? Revelations 2:20, red letter, right? It says, notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which called herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. Who was one of his servants? Ahab. He was a king. He was a servant, right? He was a servant. She basically seduced him, right? With the emotional manipulator. She seduced the elders and the nobles, right? They thought that they were keeping the law. Keep it fast, y'all. And then he blasphemed the Holy Spirit, so y'all got to stone him. She tried to manipulate the law of the Most High and got thrown head first out of a tower and ran over by a chariot. All praise to the Most High. Then eaten by dogs. The only thing was left was the palms of her hands, her feet, right? Her palms shedded that innocent blood. Let's look at the symbolism. Her palms shedded that innocent blood, right? Of the prophets. Remember when they were hiding, when Obadiah had to hide in the cave? I think it was Obadiah. We had 50 prophets. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he had 50 prophets in the cave because she was out there trying to kill the prophets. They were trying to do a hostile takeover, a coup of how things were ran in Israel, right? That's what she was trying to do. The palms of her feet was quick to run to wickedness, right? It left her feet out there, right? And her bones. That's it. Them dogs, like that movie, you remember Batman with the Joker in it, the newer one? And Buddy said, my dogs are hungry. And yet the two Rottweilers, them dogs were hungry, right? They were following those heathen customs. God. And that's what she was left as that, right? She was seducing servants to commit fornications against the Most High, right? This was the problem he had, right? And to eat things sacrificed unto idols. Wasn't Ahab worshiping and serving Baal, right? Didn't the scriptures say in Exodus 22:20, he that sacrificed unto any God except the Lord, right? Or save unto the Lord, only he shall be utterly destroyed, right? Most High said, hey, send his son to do his business. And that's what Christ was standing on, right? And it says, and I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Of course not. They're not going to repent. They're going to take it to the grave, right? They're going to take it to the grave. My last exhibit, right? Exhibit D, Sarah. Y'all going to be like, oh, what is Sarah do? We're going to get it. Ladies, you got to be very careful. We got to learn from our forefathers and foremothers, brothers and sisters. We have to. We have to, right? Let's look and see what Sarah did. Sarah laughed at the Lord's message, and she tried to lie, right? She tried to lie after the Lord heard her do so, right? She was operating in that narcissism spirit on her, and she didn't even realize it. Because she had low and unstable self-esteem. That's one of the traits, right? Now y'all probably say, well, hey, we got to make sure women ain't operating like this. Putting them lashes on, you're going to operate in that low, unstable self-esteem. You're not happy with the beauty the Lord has given you, right? Because guess what? A man see you with or without them lashes, he's still going to try and holler at you, sis. With or without that wig on, he going to still try to holler at you. If he see you doing the best you can with your hair, hey, he gonna still try and holler at you, right? What they say? It's not your beauty, it's your booty. No, you gotta stay away from men like that. You don't want to be like silly women carried away. You don't want to be that, right? Gotta be on game. The Lord has given you all the actual instruction and understanding through his word. And when we get away from that, that's when we have that problem. Brothers and sisters, when we get away from that. You can't just take a woman and say, I'm going to test drive this. Oh, I don't want to be with her. She don't make my chicken right. No, bro. You done laid, you got to stay. Teach her how to season the chicken. If you got it a certain way that you like it, teach her to season the chicken. Help to build her up, right? Help to build that woman up. That's what we're supposed to be doing, building her up with the scriptures, the law, statutes, and commandments, and other things. Help her to understand what you like. If she gonna try and show you what she likes, so y'all gotta be on one accord because y'all gonna be one stick, right? Don't have any splintering or cracks in that stick. Be a strong stick for the Lord, man. Because you want to be that strong, you want to be a strong rod. So when the Most High send Yahweh Shah to beat these heathens into submission with that rod, you want to be strong like that, right? You want to be strong just like that, right? We're going to get what Sarah did, right? Women, we can't do this. We got to be very careful what we do, right? Got to be very careful. Can't make these mistakes. Genesis 18, we'll start at 12, right? We'll start at all right, we're going to go to verse 10, right? There's a lot of conversations that men have, like brothers, you're on the phone talking with leadership, or, you know what I'm saying, leadership talking, your wife shouldn't be in a room listening to the conversation, right? Definitely shouldn't be doing that. Because what happens is they can give their opinion, put their mouth on the situation, right? And guess what? Now you can have following in your house. You gotta be very careful, right? And wives, you gotta know, hey, he's talking about something I shouldn't hear. Get up, go make your hands useful for the Lord. Go read your Bible, go put your headphones on, right? There you go. No pillow talking as well, right? Verse 10, right? It says, and he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. So she was in the eavesdropping. Lady can't be eavesdropping, right? Now Abraham and Sarah were old and were stricken in age. And it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of woman. So she was barren, right, at that point. Therefore, Sarah laughed within herself, saying, you laugh at the Lord? Oh, playing, man. After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? Low, unstable self-esteem. She was operating in, right? Whether she knew it or not, but that's the spirit that jumped on her. And let's look at what actually happened, right? So, verse 13, and the Lord said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? Now he done got rebuked for her, right? And he asked the question, at the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Then, verse 15, this is what she did it, y'all. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was afraid, right? And he said, nay, but thou didst laugh, right? She got caught in a lie. She tried to lie and say that she tried to lie on the Most High. She tried to call the Most High a lie. I didn't laugh. Oh, so the Lord is lying, right? I didn't do this. So when the Lord says in Genesis 3:16, desires of thy husband, and you act like you ain't got to do that, did the Lord lie then? No. When the Lord told man to love woman like Christ loved the church, y'all know that precept. But then y'all ignore the judgment that was put on man and woman in the Garden of Eden, right? We can't skip and choose and operate in that spirit. We can't operate in the spirit of entitlement, right? That spirit of entitlement. Because guess what? One believing they are above the rules and laws that apply to everyone else. That is a narcissistic trait. This is why I named this class Modern Feminism, or Feminism, right? Is pretty much the spirit of narcissism, right? Because it is. They go one in one hand. The spirit, the actual instructions that the Most High gave the women will have them operating as a woman. You don't have to add feminism onto it, because now you're trying to eloquate and move the goalposts and add extra rules and ingredient and herbs and spices to it. The Most High already gave us the flavor. He already gave us the instruction. He gave us the laws. He gave the women instructions. Don't do this, do these, right? But when we start to operate in these spirits, guess what? Ahab was operating in low, unstable self-esteem. And guess what? Jezebel was an emotional manipulator, right? Those elders and those nobles, they didn't even go ask Ahab, hey, did you really write this? Did you really did it? They just brought forth 2 witnesses that lied. So you added sin to sin, to sin, to sin, to sin. She didn't care because she was a heathen, right? That's exactly what she did. We can't operate in a low, unstable self-esteem. If the Lord gave us promises in his word, said, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, why are you going to sit here and doubt the Lord? Why are you going to doubt what he said? You see you see the conversation he had with Abraham? I'm going to read it again, right? And he said, is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son, right? He went straight to Abraham. He didn't even go, and Abraham went and checked Sarah about it. And she tried to lie. I didn't do that. He said, no, you did, because he knew good and well that the Most High was going to come lie to him. She in there eavesdropping. Nobody asked you. Nobody was talking to you, Sarah. That's the whole problem. And let's see what happens for you doing that, right? Then, with that low self-esteem, what did she do? Go to chapter 16. Go to chapter 16 real quick. This is going to be my last set, and I'm up out of here, right? She gave Hagar to Abraham to be his wife. Then Hagar despised Sarah, right? She didn't have enough confidence in the Lord. She was under that low self-esteem, that unstable self-esteem. I'm too old to have a kid. Here, go do it, right? Let's read it in the scriptures. Genesis 16, right? 16:1. Now, Sarai, right? Abraham's wife bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar, right? And Sarai said unto Abraham, behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. See, right there. Don't put your mouth on the Lord, right? She don't know what the Lord, because low self-esteem, woe is me spirit, right? That self-pity spirit, right? Wanting to play the victim, right? That's what she was doing. That's the spirit she was operating in. Let's not play, right? Let's look at it for what it really was. She jumped out her mouth and said, behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go into my maid, right? It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abraham's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband, Abraham, to be his wife. So she brought in another woman into the situation. Let's see what happened. And when he went into Hagar, right, and she conceived, and when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes, right? So now she's looking like, huh, I should be the main wife. I'm having babies. You too old to have the babies, right? That's that Egyptian. She started feeling entitled. She started having that spirit of what we going over? Grandiose sense of self, right? Considering herself more talented than others by trying to one-up the achievements of others. You can't have a baby. I'm going to have a baby. Same way Hannah. Remember Hannah had to pray for Samuel, right? To have Samuel. Because guess what? Her sister wife was around here having so much jokes. Oh, you can't have the babies. You can't have the babies. What do you hear now? These women doing the same thing to one another on the social media. You're a pick-me, right? You're this, you're that. They're putting down the fact of women wanting to be chosen by a righteous man and trying to break their self-esteem and trying to bully them, being arrogant, right? Being an emotional manipulator, operating on their actual insecurities of having a good man, anxiety of not having a good man, or the emotions to actually go ahead and get on social media and say anything, right? And get these women to now not even feel worthy enough to be a husband's possession, to be a Ruby, to a righteous man, right? I want a high-value man to make $100,000 a year and this, that. Sis, get off of it. Because he could get that $100,000 a year and get sick, and then the first thing he's going to do is divorce him and take the money and go to the next dude and waste the money off with him. And they go from the next dude and try and repeat that cycle. Sisters that are not keeping these laws and doing this secretly or willfully got to come out of that. The Most High is going to destroy you for that and make you an example to the nation, right? You don't want to have to go through that. Men, same thing with you. Manipulating these sisters because you look good or handsome, you got money, well, I can take care of you and your children. Do this and that and this and that and this. And then you don't do it, Most High going to destroy you for that. I pray for our men and women of our nation that they come away from these things and the Most High has mercy upon them, right? Because I don't want that for them. The Lord doesn't want that for them, right? We have to do these things. We got to pray for, that's the reason why I say, pray when you get up. Pray before and after the meal. 12 o'clock pray. There's a lot to pray for. 3 o'clock prayer. There's a lot to pray for. 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock prayer. There's a lot to pray for when it comes to our nation, right? We need to get right, right? Keep going, right? So guess what? Hagar said her mistress was despised in her eyes. So she was despising Sarai at that point. Because guess what? I can have a baby, you can't. I'm better than you. That's how African gonna think about our women. You are an akata. My hair is long. I can braid my hair. Look at your hair. Ooh, I do not like your hair. It's ugly, right? And so when y'all go in there and let them Africans braid your hair, they braid it as hard as they can. Then they try and put that steaming hot water on it. They try and relax your skull. They braid it as hard as they can. That's their traditions. They gonna braid it ball. They gonna give you that ball. They even got that now. That's a new braid style. And it, on some sisters, it look real nice, right? They call it what, the ball braid or something like that. And sisters will braid it and be short and this, that, and the other. And these are things that our sisters can look beautiful wearing and things of that nature. But we gotta be careful. We gotta be careful because these things come from out of the hands of the heathens, right? When our women wear that natural hair, beautiful. Right? Because guess what? They are an image of their creator. When our men out here, they doing the same thing as women. They getting fades put on, braids put on. I ain't gonna do that. No fake beards, none of that. When the Most High restores my hair, he's doing it hair by hair. Guess what? When I have that beard, I'll be happy. And guess what? Still no razor will come unto it, just like a Nazarite vow. No razors, right? In regards to it. Let's see verse 5. And Sarai said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee, right? I've given my maid unto thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. So she realized at that point, once that spirit came off of her, right? She realized I done made a mistake. I done sent my people into a burning house. I done gave my husband to an Egyptian woman, and now this woman despising me because I can't have the children. She's supposed to be my handmaid, and she ain't got no respect for me because she couldn't wait on the Lord, right? She didn't believe in what the Lord said, right? So let's keep going. Verse 6. But Abram said unto Sarai, behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face, right? So when he told her, hey, you go ahead and do what you want with her. That's your maid. You tell her, right? What did she do? She went hard on her, man. She bulldogged her. So what did she do? She ran off. She got up out of there, right? She beat her feet. And guess what? The angel of the Lord still spoke with Hagar and told her to come back, right? And because she was pregnant, the baby ain't come out yet. But the angel of the Lord, when you read down verses 7 through 14, he told her that she was going to have a wild man, right? She was going to have a wild man, Ishmael. That's what she was going to have, right? Sarah was still going to have her baby, but by her not having confidence and having low, unstable self-esteem and not trusting in the Lord, this became a problem in her household. Sisters, we have to be very careful not to create problems in our household. Men, we got to be very, very careful. We got to be twice as careful not to create problems in your household. You may want a second life, but as we say, it's not expedient. It's not, yep, that's what he was. Thank you very much. Come again. Would you like a single cigarette, my friend? One of them, not one of us, not one of those, right? And with that, we brought out Eve, we brought out Jezebel, we brought out Rachel and Leah, we brought out Sarah. All of these traits of spirits of narcissism and feminism that plague our women to this day, especially through the portal of social media and the bad advice of other women who are not seeking the truth. Like Captain Yari say, don't let no one steal your crown, man. Right? We have to make sure that we're doing what pleases the Lord. Because if you're not doing that, you can fall, any of us can fall subjection to any of these scenarios: emotional manipulation, arrogance and haughty behavior, right? Exaggerated sense of self-importance, low, unstable self-esteem, right? These are just a few. Inflated sense of self, grandiose sense of self, right? Entitlement, lack of empathy, jealousness, right? Envious of others. These things destroy our nation. And unless we're willing to attack these things head on and say, you know what? I can't operate in these spirits. I can't let this get. You have to, if you can't identify you got a spirit on you, it's gonna be a long road, right? And I pray that the Most High increase each and every one watching with wisdom, knowledge, discernment, understanding, right? I'm gonna go ahead and get a law, right? Today is the day of preparation. So we do want to make sure that everybody is able to go prepare for the Shabbat, right? This evening's class will be held by the mighty soldiers, Donovan and Razatakia, right? It'll be bringing in First Works Friday, right? Shout out to the actual leadership and the actual men of the Lord that bring out this word every single day, if it's the will of the Lord. Saturdays, we have the captains doing the Shabbat class, right? On Friday night, we got First Works Friday with Soldier Donovan and Razatakia. Saturday, we got the Sabbath class with the leadership. Sunday, Captain Benaniyah with the Q&A, Smoke Sundays. Monday, Power Hour, Captain Jerubbaal. Tuesday, Raw Truth Tuesday, Officer Yakov. Wednesday, Warrior Wednesday, Officer Barakaya. Thursday, Therapeutic Thursday, Captain Yari. Friday morning with myself, Reverend Friday. All praises to the Most High for us getting out here and doing the will and the work of the Lord. And we're going to get us a law, and then we out of here, man. And I pray all of y'all are keeping the laws of the Most High to the best of your ability, man. And I'm going to get... I'm going to get a couple of the laws from Leviticus 19. I'm going to start with Leviticus 19:3. You shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbath. I am the Lord your God, right? This is what Moses spoke to the congregation, right? Verse 11, ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another, right? And ye shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord, right? This is what Jezebel did. She dealt falsely, right? She helped him steal. She helped Ahab steal and deal falsely, right? She lied. She did these things, right? They didn't honor the word of God, so they was destroyed suddenly for their actions, right? Again, I am Soldier Ehud, Banya Sharala. I am just a humble, faithful servant of the Lord. I am nothing without the Lord's word, law, statutes, and commandments. I pray that you was edified with the Most High's word as I was, to use discernment to identify this feminist, narcissistic spirit that's out here plaguing our nation. And we must be actually able to combat this by utilizing the word of the Most High, to utilize these teachings, these scriptures, and these identifying marks to avoid any type of confusion, because a lot of our women are walking in a narcissistic spirit. Believe it or not, they try to put that title on men. A lot of men learn it from the women, right? They'll do it, right? They will do it. And guess what? We got to pray for our sisters. We got to pray for our brothers. When you see these spirits on people, right? Don't sit there and not have pity on them and not take them to the Lord, right? You got to love thy brother as thyself. And I'm going to leave you with that. And with that, I'm going to say shalom. I have a Barak day of preparation. Y'all get ready for the Shabbat. Kahala Yahweh Bahashima Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yasharala. Shalom, Yasharala.